It's the intergalactic soul, the honorable brother, the revolutionary yourself, Darius Lockhart, and I'm here to tell you to watch Power Bombshells every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern on the Fight Game Media YouTube channel. That's right, every Sunday at 1 p.m., and that's on time, every time, because when we stand together, what time is it? That's right, it's nation time.
Welcome to Power Bombshells 179. I'm Mel, that's Sam. We're just two broads talking about the wrestling we like. And the hats that we like.
We've been having a good time reading your comments, which we will read on the air in a second. But Daza's post started some. Well, I guess I'll just go ahead and put it up here. It started a conversation. I was like, we're going to end up being late because we're talking about what this hat would look like. So thank you, first of all, for being in the chat with us today. And if you're not and you're just hanging out watching, we appreciate that. Or if you're on the replay. And also, shout out to Zach, who comes in every Sunday to tell us what national day it is. And today it is National Trail Mix Day. So
there's a day for every day.
There is. Listen, I use that website especially when I was using, because I have a blog that's unrelated to wrestling, and
what
to help me find things, like to see if I had the blog posts related to it. I was checking the National Day calendar like on Sundays and like planning out content if there were things like that I might have a recipe for or a blog post for, because it's related to. I haven't updated this blog in like 3 years, and I'm actually trying to figure out what to do with it. But was to help to help people like my sister who have dietary restrictions.
Yeah, I've used a bunch of the recipes on there.
So. Oh, great. So yeah, and it's geared towards people with food sensitivities. I mean, obviously food allergies, but allergies are a little bit more. You have to be a little bit more strict with, and so but all the recipes are gluten, dairy, and soy free, and some of them are top 9 free and things like that. So I would check the calendar and see if I have, like, if something was coming up, like there was like blueberry pie day. Well, we have a recipe for blueberry lemon pie, so like I would post it on that day, or National Pizza Day. So I have all kinds of recipes for that. So like that website, nationaldaycalendar.com. This is not a sponsored post or anything like that. It was just super helpful for helping plan out some content. So,
that's awesome. That's a really good idea.
So I use that thing all the time.
That's awesome. Yes. I love trail mix. It's a solid snack.
It is. It is a solid snack.
It's got everything you need.
Exactly. So Daza said Mel will be, his guess for the hat was Mel will be wearing an official Flat Earth Theory Club with the slogan, "We have members here from around the globe." And Mel, why don't you tell the class what your flat earther hat would look like?
First of all, Daza, I have to let you know that is absolutely one of my most favoriteest memes on the internet. When I first saw that, it popped me so hard because that was like I saw it on social somewhere where someone said, flat earthers, we have members all around the globe, and that's been my joke forever. That's like. I love that joke. It's amazing. So I was talking to Sam, is because you could like get the easel for like a globe, but actually take like God, I lost it again. Like a coaster, like a flat square coaster, and put it in there and like make it spin. And we figured that like make it like one of those old timey hats. Yeah. So we were totally fantasy booking what the perfect flat earth hat would look like. Thanks,
you. For you.
That's why we need you guys here.
Sometimes you give us prompts without even knowing.
It's amazing. It makes it all worth it. Flat.
Brad must have been inspired by Dalton Castle, who we have not seen. He said Brad says that he's going to say you're wearing a straw hat with a peacock feather sticking out from the top.
I have both things, but I've not put them together. So maybe a future episode, TBC. No, I've actually got it's like a little hard to see, but it's actually a Michigan hat, and it has little pine trees, and it says Detroit in there, and it's cute. A cool bob pickup. I like representing the mitten here. That's people who carry our map with us everywhere we go.
Right. Brad says happy. Right. Brad said happy National I'm not celebrating a damn thing day. Hey,
I'm actually after this, Brad. I'm kicking it. We're just not doing anything.
Yeah,
I ended up getting. Yeah, it's been busy. Although, because of technical difficulties, I'll be able to have a meaningful discussion with you about Death Before Dishonor. So thanks for screwing up your audio and putting the show up for free.
We can figure out what was wrong because so Friday I was like, hey, can I cover Ring of Honor so I don't have to watch SmackDown? So last week I didn't have to watch Raw because it was on at 3 p.m. So it was on during my work day. And then I didn't have to watch SmackDown because I was watching Ring of Honor, and I was like, God, I went a whole week without watching WWE. Then I remembered I was on NXT live coverage on Tuesday. So we'd get there. But
So
I
cool.
had a lot less WWE in my life.
Way
this
less.
week, which I appreciate. I kind of have, I need to go back and read Olivia's wonderful live coverage work so that I can see what I missed in case I need to know what's happening. But I was like, so I got to watch Ring of Honor, and we will talk about Death Before Dishonor. But people kept talking about the stream, and I was like, stream's playing fine for me. And my editor was like, it's because you're the one person who watches all the time. Of course it's working for you. But then last night, Nikki and I went back and watched, because we didn't watch 0 Hour Friday. So we went back and we rewatched it, and we saw where because it would start playing and it would back up and start over. And I was like, oh, that must have been what they were talking about. But the stream on Honor Club played fine. But Tony said after, like when he was doing the scrum, he said that he was giving everybody that ordered or that watched it, or I guess it's actually all Honor Club users.
It sounded like all Honor Club where people were getting a month free.
You're getting a $10, and I was like, that cannot be cheap. I mean, not that there's clearly. Listen, I know it's Honor Club, so it's not like there's a whole bunch.
There's only 12 of you.
There's only 12 of us, so I guess it's not.
He can absorb that.
He can, yeah, it's fine. He can write it off on his taxes.
There's no tariffs on that sort of thing. It's fine.
Yeah, at least not yet. So knock on wood, Tony's good there. But he did put up the entire show for free on YouTube, and if you haven't watched it, I highly recommend it if you have
good show.
Some time. And like I said, we'll spend some time talking about that. And also, I don't know if Collins is still here, but Collins and Kyle were back on Friday with their Death Before Dishonor pre-show or post-show. And so I was writing an article, and because I told Nikki, I was like, the good thing is I didn't have to watch SmackDown, but usually when I watch SmackDown, because there's several of us, I usually only have to write 1 to 2 articles. But because I was the only one covering Death Before Dishonor, I ended up with 4 articles.
Nice.
I was like, well, works out for me. But so I was writing my last article, and I tuned in and listened to them and watched the show, and they don't know if they're back for how often they'll be back right now, but it was nice to have a little bit of Honor Ramble in our life, and so I was glad that they are back for any amount of time that they're back. So and Collins did mention when they saw that I was in the chat, their shirt did ship because they ordered a Power Bombshell shirt, and it has shipped. So yay!
Thank you. That's awesome. Yeah, I saw that they were back and was like, oh, dope. I'm glad you're feeling. Oh, she is still there.
Collins is still here. Okay, good.
They're still there.
Yay!
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate you on every level. Glad you felt good enough. I'm glad you felt like up to a fun podcast this weekend.
Yes.
Good show for it.
Yeah, they had a lot of good comments, and we all Collins and Kyle share in my STP agenda. We so
banner carriers.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Collins, sounds like what Nikki would be doing if she could, because Nikki also loves The Sims, and so
that kind of tracks with like what Bob would be doing. And then sometimes I do that with I'm not going to pretend I don't play Zelda and listen to Paul and Jeff or whatever once in a while. It is what it is.
Hey, whatever floats your boat.
Sometimes it is worthwhile to see Jeff's reactions, but that's
yeah, of course. So Brad says that he thinks it was people that were using the website to watch. He was watching on the app on my Fire Stick, and my stream was fine. I was casting from the app to my TV, which is how I watch every week. Is I just cast directly from the app and play it on the TV like that. So, maybe that's part of the reason why. And then USVA guy says, speaking of Michigan, he had fun at Big House last night.
Oh, you got to go to Ann Arbor. Lucky you. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the city and got to hit some. I love going over there because there's so many great food joints. I have friends that are over in the area. They live in Whitmore Lake, which is like, it's there. It's essentially the area around Ann Arbor. But because it is such a big university town, that's where University of Michigan is.
Mm-hmm.
It's got all the stuff that university towns come with. So all the fun eateries and years ago, our friends before COVID that live over there brought us on it was an ugly sweater pub crawl.
Oh, nice.
It was at Christmas time. It was something they did. Again, it was like before times. But it was
right.
really great. It was something they did as like an annual tradition. And so it was everyone got their ugliest sweaters on and we got to hit up a bunch of really fun places down there.
That sounds
and
cool.
I got to actually go on campus, which was fun because like a couple of them are alumni. And I'm just like, this is cool. Because I mean, my doctors are, part of that situation. And if it wasn't for the university and all the stuff that goes on, that's like,
right.
I used to I was one of these people that would like root for the little brother schools a lot, but
sure.
I'm 100% go blue at this point. And I'm sorry if, you weren't rooting for Michigan, but we're at the Big House. So
there you go.
There's plenty of people not rooting for Michigan, but
I don't know if Collins will see this in the comments. I'm going to read Nikki's post because actually, and I agree with this comment. Nikki said, without sounding like a weirdo, I enjoyed hearing Collins's laugh again. It's so cheerful. Same.
That's awesome. I love that. I love when you have like your podcast pals, your podcast bros, as we used to call them back in the day, that just you like are talking to them even though they don't even know you, or even if they do, it's like that they can't hear you, but you don't care.
Oh no. Nikki, you did. It's a Sunday, so instead of wrestling made Collins cry. Wrestling podcast made Collins cry.
In a good way.
In a good way, yes. We love Collins in this house, if you can't tell.
Yeah.
But and I do want to say before the show gets going too much further, I meant to say this last week, but obviously last week was a bit of a scramble.
Curious about this. Now I've been sitting on it for a week.
I meant to mention it last week, but the live stream was we did it at 10:30. We got here. If you listened last week, my sister and I were taking care of my dad's dogs and we were in a rush to get here, and we got right into the show because we wanted to get you out before the podcast. I mean, before the main show started. And so I did not get to mention it. So I left this note for myself again. So I wanted to give a shout out to, we have a new baby, Power Bombshells listener, our good friend Matthew, who Nikki and I have known for a very long time. He usually listens to the replay. He became a dad recently, and so welcome baby Mason, and congrats to Matthew and Kendra. And baby Mason first pay-per-view was All Out, and got to this week we got a picture in the group chat that baby Mason was watching Dynamite with Dad this week. We got a cute little picture of him sleeping. Wow. And so we feel like we're good. So I called Mason a baby sicko. I mean, Wesley's gonna be a baby wrestling sicko. He's gonna start
so awesome! Congratulations! That's so cool.
So congratulations to them.
I'm so happy for them.
Yeah. So we just wanted
awesome.
I was like, let me make sure so again, I meant to say it last week and just didn't get to it, and I apologize. And so I wanted to make sure this week. Brad says, that's great. Kathy is no longer the youngest Power Bombshell family member.
There we go.
But we appreciate Kathy for being the very first Power Bombshell family member.
She did it before it was cool.
Kathy was one of the first people to get a shirt. Kathy got her shirt before Mel and I got
our shirt. Kathy is the ultimate edgelord. She's ahead of the curve. In fact,
Oh, USVA guy said that it was fun. He wished he could have spent some more time there, but their charter flight already got back to Albuquerque.
Yeah, the quick trips. It is what it is.
And Nikki said, happy for Matthew and Kendra. Welcome, baby sicko.
Yeah. The kid's going to be like a WWE fan or something. Nah.
Don't wish that on that baby.
No, I wouldn't wish it. It's just, it's one of those weird things I found over the years because I worked with so many parents and children, is that if there's like, it tends to trend where it's like your kids tend to be like shades of which sides of you, like as a parent.
Yes.
And or the extreme opposite of what you like.
Right.
So
That's
it's funny.
too.
So, but what I love about more modern parents is that they let the kids, like with Kathy, it's like been a natural thing. They've watched a bunch of movies and they've watched a bunch of wrestling, and it's how my sister does it too. They try out all these different things, and she has her favorites that she's established, and it's just organic, just like some of
I know that Kathy probably loved some 0 Hour this Sunday if she got a chance to tune in, because she got both Billy Starks and Jordan Oliver again this week. So I thought of her when I saw. I was like, Kathy's got two of her faves this week again. Nikki, this is fair. It wouldn't come from Matthew because he doesn't watch WWE anymore. He would have to discover it in secret.
But that's what I'm saying. Is like, it would be that weird thing. Like if you're in Ohio still, like it's like being a closet Ohio State fan in Michigan or something, you know?
Right.
Have to hide. It's so funny. You know, one of the easiest way to get cheap heat in any Michigan show that I've seen so far, indie show or otherwise, is to say you're from Ohio. That's all. That's all. It's the easiest thing in the world. It's so hilarious. It's like, even at the most recent thing I was at, which is a really small indie event, and it was fairly new. It was so awesome because they were kicking it off, and it was like, even this kid that came in because it was an air promotional, he came in, he was like, he's from Ohio, so we can't root for him. And just like, they call out his hometown, he's from Ohio, we just boom. It's hilarious. It's like,
let me tell you, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. You go.
I was going to say, let me tell you, I have never felt more one with the Philly crowd than I did last night when they got a "fuck the revival" chant going during FTR's match.
I heard that. I was like, oh my God, Sam must be freaking out right now.
I was like, oh my God. Because Nikki and I heard it at the same time. We realized what they were chanting, and we were like, oh my God. And then they just like booed the hell out of them. And then there's one shot. If you've not seen Collision, there's a GIF going, or a little clip going around of this woman in the audience who was not here for anything FTR related, and she was like in Dax's face. And another person went after them last week, the guy in the FedEx shirt, and last night Dax said, I saw his tweet come up, and he said that woman, I guess, would have beat up the FedEx guy. Like, I guess he was more scared of her than FTR, but that guy. But I was like, I did not know that Nikki was like, she's like, these Philly fans are my people. I was like, I was thinking literally the exact same thing.
This is my friend who's from that way. He used to go to Chikara back in the day. Like, he was a regular go, because that's Philly's like 2 hour. It was an hour, 2 hours from him. And him and his friends all went to Chikara. So when I first met him, he was actually still going. That's like 10 years ago. And I mean, I didn't know a lot of the people at the time, but I was hearing their names, and now it's like later in my life, it all like makes sense to me. And I'm like, well, I've heard of all of those people now. I know exactly where they come from. And so that is especially that location. We have a joke amongst us because Keith had to bring John to the ECW arena because, well, I won't tell why, because it's a little, it's, you know, it's inside.
It's fine.
but the reasoning is purposeful, and you know, it was meaningful to them. So I was so excited. I was like, oh, Sam is gonna love you guys. And I should have said Sam and Nikki, because it was like, you guys are in on it. They are so deep into, because they had such a healthy,
like, even outside of the FTR stuff, like, this crowd has been a lot of fun.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
They've been like, I mean, obviously being in the 2300 arena, like, they're gonna know their stuff and they're gonna know what they like and what they dislike, but they have been a lot of fun. Like, even during the ROH show, like, they were they were super into it. They were like, last night during Collision, they were chanting, "We want Billy." And then so Billy tags herself in, and she starts going after Tony, and she's like, "This is what you wanted." And like, you can hear her, like, it was just really great. Because, you know, I know that some people do. It's just, it doesn't bother me, but people are like, oh, this, you know, the we've all agreed that the smaller venues are a better fit for AEW, but some people were like talking about how 2300 Arena still doesn't look good and it's only for people who are like over 40 and who give a crap and all this stuff. But I think like I enjoy the show. I think they're fun. I think the crowd's super into it. I like the way it looks. Believe me, I'm not tuning in for, if I'm tuning in for what an arena looks like or a venue looks like, then you have bigger problems if that's what I'm focusing on. Like I'm tuning in
especially
for the
with indie or like not television wrestling, because
right.
you've clearly not watched any of the indie shows that they put on during WrestleMania weekend. They all come off that way. And I get it too. I mean, it's fine if you want to talk about the one thing I was saying this morning. Like, even the people that don't watch ROH weekly, they watch the pay-per-view still. Regardless of, like, I know a lot of people who still tune in specifically for the ROH pay-per-views, and the cards are really good. Like,
that's the thing, like, we talk about, and I think Kyle made this comment during their show on Friday about how now, like, we used to know, we could figure out, like he would say, you could watch in the summertime and kind of figure out by Final Battle, like what seeds were being planted, where now we get the card, maybe get a few matches 2 or 3 weeks before, and then we get the rest of the card like the day of, which is super frustrating. It's part of the reason why I went in my notes, the notes the other day, when you will see the I have in our notes, what are we doing here, Death Before Dishonor edition, because when I wrote that, 4 matches were announced, and I had made a thread about the title situation in Ring of Honor outside of the pure title, the men's pure title. Everything else was a mess. And so the show itself, but the shows always deliver. Like, no matter how much, I mean, it is super frustrating that sometimes we don't get the card to the last minute, or they don't put in the effort. Because I think my biggest issue is it feels like they're not putting in the effort for the build, and so everything feels thrown together like it's, we have a ROH pay-per-view that I forgot about. Let me throw these matches together, which is unfortunate as a fan who consistently watches. But on the other hand, like, the talent always delivers, and that's what I always say. I was like, it's not the talent, it's never on them. Like, they always show up and do what they're supposed to do, which is put on an incredible show. But so now we know, like, Final Battle obviously is the end of the year. It should not get moved around to a bunch of different dates because it's in December, so it can't be moved around like these two. So hopefully the build will be a bit better. But Brad said, and I saw this tweet last night, that Mouse, who is Billy's dad, tweeted out, "My kid will now have main evented in no particular order: Jeffersonville Arena, Hammerstein Ballroom, Corkin Hall, Youngest Gaijin, and now the ECW Arena."
Right on.
Is incredible. And that's what they were talking about last night. Or I think they were talking about during the pre-show about like how she's still so young, but she's already a veteran because she's been wrestling so long and she's had all these accomplishments already, wrestling in all these places, and just the incredible stuff that she's done. And Brad says, I think it came up again though, Brett, for some reason. But the crowd, I agree. I think the crowd has made
I think they are enjoying it so far. We'll hope that the residents can sustain if people want to continue to come to it and can afford to, hopefully, because they seem to know their assignment. And I mean, I know that that's a wrestling town, so it's awesome that they're doing the thing. It makes the shows better. I don't care if it has that sort of clanky feel. I think there's plenty of like places in the gymnasium sort of feel that like New Japan has, and it doesn't take anything away from the wrestling show.
Right. Agree. Yeah, 100%.
There's plenty of those venues they have that have like balconies and like weird acoustics and stuff, but
but they always I think
those are awesome.
But I think that I was gonna say it adds character as the vibe that you don't get anywhere else, and so I think I enjoy that type of stuff. But apparently,
you can mix
people,
it
or maybe
up.
it's just the people who are just looking for something to complain about. But
well, no kidding, because gummy bears.
Oh my God,
Wow, you want to talk about a giant nothing burger? And wow, did you miss the point on the side?
Right. There's and Ricochet was not having it. But so Nikki, this is a reference to FTR. She said the FTR probably thinks that they're over with heat, and she's like, no, I think a lot of people are actually just tired of them.
No, it did not sound. You can. I feel like you can tell the difference between like legit heat and that was a little go away.
Yeah. That's how
They were
I mean,
kinda like-
I know I'm not impartial because I am not a fan of theirs, but I was just like, I was like, but these fans,
the Philly crowd seemed to be very much on your side where they were.
did.
And
And yeah,
again,
because
they
that's
pulled out a really obscure thing to chant at them. So
they sure did. And then and Brad says, once again, JD Drake got over big time last night, which is what I was just about to say. And I told Nikki, I was like, not to take anything away from JD Drake or Adam Priest, and I was like, I can't tell if they're like into them because they're so against FTR or if they're really into Drake and Priest. But I thought that I was so happy to see them get that moment. Anthony was not there because Anthony is on had a family vacation already scheduled prior to this and had been given approval for time off, which Anthony said last night on Twitter, but then also Tony Khan mentioned it because somebody was asking about Adam Priest on Friday during the scrum, and he said that which was really, it made me laugh because he said he found Adam Priest from Rev Pro. And I was like, of all the places, Nikki was like, does he only watch Rev Pro? That's like, apparently.
possibly.
And of course, Adam, everybody, you're going to see everything, but I know Adam Priest from DPW.
Right.
Is where I know him from. And that's where he's he's if he's a little, he's a little chicken shit asshole over there in DPW. So he's very good at being a jerk, but he's actually very good in the ring. And so putting him with Drake, I thought was really cool. So, and Tony had mentioned, he was like, well, Anthony Henry had asked for this weekend off. He was like, otherwise we probably you would have seen the workhorsemen out here tonight because Adam Priest was in the 50K match. So then last night, obviously we got JD Drake and Adam Priest, which was a fun team. And I love, of course, I'm a huge JD Drake fan, so I was really excited for him. I think he and Priest work very well together. And then Caprice was putting Workhorseman and Adam Priest over on during Ring of Honor too, which Caprice obviously, because Caprice also does some stuff with DPW, and so he's familiar with them, and so it's nice to hear the people that you watch on the indies get some love on national TV. Yes. Jermaine says, now is the time to have Billy beat Athena for the ROH women's title. We're going to get to that when we get to the believe me. We've talked about this a few times, but yes, we're definitely getting into that.
Yes, and we don't want to squander them.
Yes, so JD was super over. Yes, I'm so excited. I hope that he seems made, like, there's some wrestlers who are made for certain venues, and I think like the 2300 Arena is
seriously
it's a place for JD Drake. Like, I hope Tony books him for for the rest of the collisions that are there. I hope, because I think that crowd really loves him, and I think that venue is the perfect fit for him.
Was awesome. Yeah, it was a really good collision last night.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and it was more of a we're just going off the vibes. Like, we had one match announced for that show, and it was announced during Death Before Dishonor. They announced Juice versus Big Bill.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And I was like,
even
if I wasn't on ROH coverage, like, I wouldn't have been able to write my preview on Friday night because we had one match. They were supposed to, originally they were going to do the Taz induction ceremony last night.
And he
asked Tony to move it to the following Wednesday so that he could get so he had time to get family and friends there, which I'm sure Tony had no problem doing. Like, we'll accommodate Taz. But if you haven't seen it yet, there was a clip that was posted to their social media and to YouTube of after Dynamite, where they all came out and a bunch of them were wearing the new Taz shirt, and they had Taz's wife, and of course Hook was out there. And they're just giving him a lot of love and telling him they were going to induct him into the Hardcore Hall of Fame. And Taz is super emotional. And Tony was just talking about, because Tony, the very first time he went to ECW Arena 29 years ago, he was wearing a Taz shirt. And so, and he was talking about being able to, like, come back to that venue 29 years later and honor Taz. Was how much that meant to him and how cool it was and how much he wanted to do that for Taz. So I'm really looking forward to that, because I was like, that's really cool. Yeah. And Brad said they should have had out Team Taz shirts for all the fans, so there's a sea of orange for him. That would be super cool.
Super cool. That would be really fun.
Yeah.
Taz was one of my first favorites too. And I used to, like, ECW was the one I actually watched a good chunk of because it was on so late at night.
Right.
And my parents kind of didn't care what my sister and I were doing late at night watching TV.
Right.
So we'd watch like MTV, and then I found ECW and I would watch a bunch of it. So Taz was genuinely like one of my first favorites because I just
very cool.
He was a smaller dude and he was so cool, and it was like, wow, I love this guy. And so when I was so hyped when they hired him at AEW. I was like, and now they're doing all this great stuff for him. And he's had a rough year, Sabu, and I'm just like, this is perfect. And I love when I was like, yes, definitely. Tony's definitely not going to say no to that. Like,
right. Yeah, exactly. And I was like, and they've got plenty of time, and that, they've got, I think, like four or five more shows.
Yeah, they need to keep filling that arena. I was like, I hope that they can maintain it because it's got a great vibe. It
does have a great vibe. And having Hook come back there, perfect. Not even knowing what they were going to do for Taz, but just having him come back there made so much sense. And
you said it before, Forbidden Door, and I think you were totally. And as soon as you said it, I was like, nope, she's totally right. There's no way in hell they're going to have him. And literally, like the show after,
right? I was like, there he is,
right there. As soon as Pops was back behind the desk, and his knees were good, and everything was fine, and here I am, and I'm going to show up 2 nights in a row, and
they had him. Yeah, they had him.
Well, not quite 2 in a row. He got 1 night off, but
right. they're putting him to work. Brad said that the killer from Red Hook really spoke to me, even though I'm from quiet Queens. I love seeing such a dope wrestler represent New York. Taz was my dude.
Yeah, he's just great. He was so awesome. ECW was like the best. It was so like crazy. I don't know why. I guess that's my style of wrestling that I latched onto early.
Right.
The weird stuff.
Yeah. I didn't have, and I've talked about this before, like I had access to ECW, but it was just not, at that time, was not anything that I would have been into.
Right.
Adult me would probably be super into ECW, but and then, of course, I got the watered down WWE version, which was not the real version.
No,
and I wasn't under, and believe me, I was not under the impression that
PG-13 ECW is not a thing.
No, and I knew, I was like, this is not even anywhere close to what.
No, that's not.
Like, and so I knew that. I was like, no, this is the WWE version of this. So, like, but that was where, that was primarily my exposure, because but at the time, that would not have been for me.
No, that makes sense.
Adult me would be probably super into ECW if it were around now. Like, I think I would definitely.
Well, I mean, in fairness, there's this very because Tony Khan was such a huge ECW fan. There is definitely the ingredients of ECW are baked into AEW.
Sure.
Quite literally, we just saw all of that the last week. So.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, all those like barbed wire and crazy stuff like that. I mean. Dude, Walter Hauser. Oh my.
Like that match. What insane.
Dude, all the credit in the world to him for not coming out there and acting. Like, he took that so seriously. I would usually not. I was like, I saw people tweeting about it, and I was like, oh, because I saw that it ended up being free on YouTube. So I was like, sweet, we can watch the show. So we sat and we watched it, and I was like, I was skeptical of that match, but he looked ready. He looked like he'd been training. He
wrestles in Revolver
match.
He's wrestled in Pro Wrestling Revolver several times. I've seen him a couple times. I've seen him, and he's done a hardcore type of match in Revolver before. I believe he's wrestled a couple other places, and I feel like somebody said he's a champion somewhere.
Oh, nice.
Maybe somebody in the comments can tell me if that's correct, but I thought I saw
just
that
loved
somewhere.
it. I thought that was amazing. I did not know I needed that match.
Yeah, on the one hand, I was like, do we need this on the main card? Because they've at least been keeping QT to keeping him on the pre-shows, and then maybe it didn't need 20 minutes. Maybe. But it's still for me, it was fun. I enjoyed it because QT got,
I think that's like the perfect use for QT right there. No talking.
Okay, thank you, Brad. Paul Walter Hauser is the Progress champion. Okay.
All right, then.
And then, so Taz, so Hook came out and helped him in that match, but Nikki, I had forgotten, but Nikki reminded me that they were on that Hook and Paul Walter Hauser and Orange Cassidy and Chucky T were all on the red carpet together a few weeks ago, which I had forgotten about. And because at first I was like, why is Hook here? And I was like, that's right, because they were they were at that movie premiere together, and so I was like, that makes so they have a friendship or whatever, and so
which movie?
They were no, it wasn't. I think if I'm not mistaken, they were at the premiere of the new. I think that was the new Naked Gun movie that they went to the premiere.
Oh, that's hilarious. Okay,
they were at the premiere. I want to say that was what it was for. I could, maybe I'm mistaken, but I think that's what it's for. But you know, Paul has used he's used his Golden Globe before. He had it again.
Oh, yeah. I love it. I love that he has.
And I saw a headline that said that he got the wind knocked out of him when he took the powerbomb spot through the thumbtack.
Okay, that makes sense.
I was like, rightfully so. Yeah, because he was looking a little winded there. But I mean, clearly there's a lot going on in that match. And
Bob told me at one point he like waved the ref over, and that might have been that moment. Because he said, I think he actually took it, because Bob notices crazy stuff. Bob's the person, like, if you're watching a movie, then like the scene changes and the person like walks into the scene, he'll notice that they're wearing like a slightly different jacket, or like he moved, like that chair was in a different place. He's like, did you notice that chair is like in a different place from before? I'm like, no.
Sometimes I catch things like, sometimes I can be like that where I will notice things like that.
He is so he notices little like cues like that, especially. And he's like, and he also used to, you know, sword fighting and theater. So it's like, I think I'm like, oh, okay, it makes sense. But he catches that stuff all the time. So that makes total sense. But no, credit to him. That was awesome. That was a lot of, I like having a fun match here and there.
Yeah.
I think that was,
and
well
I feel like
utilized.
that match was appropriate for the 2300 arena.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Perfect venue.
And Brad says, you know, Paul Walter isn't a good pro wrestler, but he loves the sport and he isn't making fun of it like many other celebrities. He's trying his damnedest, and QT did a great job with him. Much respect to him. So yeah, that was exactly
what I said. Is he's not making fun of it. He's actually out there legitimately wrestling.
He's trying. Like, he's putting in the effort. I mean, listen, not everybody can be a Bad Bunny and hit that incredible destroyer, but at least he's out there. You know, he's trying his hardest, and he's putting in the work. Like, he's doing the indie shows. Like, he's not coming in like Jelly Roll and wrestling, like, you know, training a little bit and going out there and having a match. Like, he's out here having matches on a semi-regular basis, like trying his best, which, you know, and we know what he's coming in for. Like, he's not coming in to be a pro wrestler or to take somebody's spot. He's coming in because he loves it. He's helping, you know, adding his name might get some people to tune in, especially on a free show that ended up being
I definitely think
like, he's not, you know, I enjoy him.
Like, I'm a Cobra Kai watcher, so I call him Stingray a lot. Like, we do that sometimes, but I mean, so for me, it's like, I know, I bet that there would be a little crossover, because similar. Right. But,
yeah.
I mean, I wish the fight game nerds like me. Garrett's big into that. Like, those guys are into it.
I'm sure.
Anything Karate Kid or Rocky, Garrett and I completely agree.
I'm sure. They had a guy from Cobra Kai that was on Ring of Honor last week, I think it was, like, because QT was out there, you know, of course, talking trash, and so he had him. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he had a match with QT. Or no, did he have a match? Yeah, I think he had a match with QT, and then that ended up making the match official, and so they had him involved. Brad says it says a lot about QT that he's the one chosen for these matches, whether it's Paul Walter, Hauser, Big Boom, AJ, etc. I mean, I have my thoughts on QT Marshall.
I just think that's the right spot for him. I think that
I mean, I feel like he is good in these roles, but sometimes I feel like these matches could go to other people, and I feel like he necessarily maybe. But if you are going to have these type of matches, then QT is probably the best person for them. And also, I hope they stop with the QTB, because they brought it back twice. Yeah, I was like, please stop. Please leave that in the past. Poor Aaron Solo, he doesn't have anything else to do. I was like, except for he gets squashed every once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, you know, gotta get that in, the obligatory squash.
Yes,
I'm sorry, enhancement match.
Right. We will definitely circle back around to Death Before Dishonor, but before we do, obviously it's been a week since Forbidden Door. What were your thoughts on the show?
I thought the show was great. I really enjoyed it. I I didn't even know there were controversies about things. So, but there's always is.
Yeah,
So you'll have to.
I didn't mean to. I had planned. Usually with pay-per-views, I try to cross post, like whatever I post on Blue Sky. I usually go back and post on Twitter, and then I just kind of forgot. And then I was like, oh well, I'll go back to it later. And then I did, but then I had to watch Heat Wave after. So that Sunday was a lot.
You had a
like,
big weekend last weekend.
I was doing. So we did our show at 10:00 or 10:30. I watched Forbidden Door, and then from 7 to 10, I covered Heat Wave. And so I was like, so Monday, I was like, we're not watching any, because I didn't have to watch Raw. I was like, we're not watching any wrestling.
Great.
Like, we'll watch stuff off. We'll watch murder shows off the DVR.
Yeah.
Which is what we did. So, but going, and then, you know, we talked about that where, you know, going from watching New Japan or AEW and then watching WWE is not typically a good idea. And that was like, but I had no choice.
I know
but it just went into, it was just like, it was a lot. Some of these matches
Sam was
went
being
on
a responsible producer.
The main event of Heat Wave, I really enjoyed. It was Obafemi versus Javon Evans for the title. I thought it was a really good match, and so it was pretty good. But so I didn't see a lot of the discourse going around until like a day or two later, because I was not on social media. I should say not on Twitter as much, because of course that's where all the discourse was at. So I saw some people say that they liked Forbidden Door, but it didn't deliver in the way that AEW pay-per-views do, and so that therefore it was the worst pay-per-view AEW has ever done. And I was like, what? I enjoyed the pay-per-view. I mean, there's some questionable.
Which part wasn't?
Apparently, the entire show did not.
That crowd was hot as Hades.
Yeah, which is what I saw. People in the replies were like, I was in there in the arena. Like, people were into everything. Like, they loved stuff. All, you know, the people in the arena loved it. Like, what do you like? I'm so surprised they're having these reactions. In particular, there were two matches besides the Gummy Bear spot, which we'll get to. But the main two that apparently had a lot of the discourse was Hangman versus MJF, because of the overproduced ending, which is typical of an MJF match. Like,
well, that's literally
that's
MJF in a nutshell.
Right. And I get it. Like, but for me, like, I thought the match was, was it a great, I mean, it wasn't my favorite match, but like, it wasn't anywhere near awful. We've seen MJF in worse matches before, and this was not it. And so I don't, and I guess it was, but I was like, I mean, it makes sense that Mark Briscoe tried to get down there to him because of the things that he'd been doing to Mark Briscoe. So like, that made sense. But like, I mean, yeah, MJF matches are overproduced because that's how he does his stuff. But I thought the match was fine.
That's every MJF segment. That's every MJF match. Every time MJF comes, if he has to be bothered to come down that ramp, there's going to be packages and rants and way more television time taken up than pretty much anybody. I mean,
sure. Yeah, and I thought the match was fine. He always has good matches with Hangman. I thought Hangman did great. I knew that Hangman was, I mean, I get why people were worried about it, but I'm like, Hangman's not going to lose this title after one show.
No.
Like, people,
it's going to be a minute, I think.
And I was like, he's going to outsmart MJF, which he did. And now Tony has changed the rules, which I'm glad that they did, because they don't need to copy Money in the Bank that you can cash in at any time. You now have to give 1 week's notice so that they can promote the show.
Makes sense.
Promote the match. Warner Brothers wants it promoted. And so you can't.
I agree with that.
Which I'm not mad at. And then, of course, Hangman took that as like, whenever you sign that, I'll beat your ass before the ink is dried. Like, I'm not afraid of you. Like, whatever. Let's do this. And so, yeah, I thought the match was fine. And then the other one apparently was I think it was more of the result than the match itself was Tony versus Athena. I think I did
see some people, and I was
really
questioning,
mad that Athena did not win that match.
I think it was probably too soon.
And also because it was she tapped her out, I think was the other problem. Or at least that I saw. Some people were complaining about that, but like, I get it. Like, obviously, if you've watched the show for 5 seconds, everybody here knows that I'm a huge Athena fan. But after our show ended, I was thinking about it, and I was like, I wonder if Tony retains, because they're going to do Mercedes versus Tony again, and that's going to be her 10th title. Is going to be the world title.
Yeah.
But they now are also hinting that, I think they're just kind of hinting at everything, so you can't really guess where they're going with this. But somebody asked during the post show of Death Before Dishonor, they asked Athena if she was would face Mercedes again. And then was she afraid of facing 9 belts Monet? And she was like, no. She was like, I maybe was not as prepared for her as I thought. And she was like, and I was a little too conservative. And she's like, next time I won't be. She was like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to keep my title. And if that means hurting somebody, I will. Like, I'm going to come in with a different game plan. And then so Mercedes quote tweeted the comment the next day and said that was the title she really wants. So they've kind of left it where it could be either or. Maybe neither at all. Maybe they're just teasing it because Mercedes is going to have a 10th title at some point. Like that's obvious that's going to happen. And then, but I thought the match was good. Some people say they think that they liked Athena versus Mina better, which I might agree with, but I didn't think Athena versus Tony was bad. I enjoyed the match. I thought it was
I mean, I think they were equally good in their own way. Obviously they're two different kinds of wrestling matches. So I did see that people were mad that MJF got to keep his contract and Athena didn't because there was some of that.
I said was going to happen once they changed that.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a fair beef because
I agree with that.
There's fair. A little bit. It's like if you're going to get gray on the guys, then you should probably be able to use that on the girl. But maybe, I mean, they seem to have a plan in place for whatever they're doing. So maybe the formatting of what they're doing with the ladies is different than what they need to do with the women or with the men, and the way that because MJF really wants that belt back, but he's not getting it anytime soon.
No,
so
I don't think
so he can't have that contract for ever.
Right. And he's also like MJF is booked and busy. Like he still has the Mark Briscoe storyline, even though Mark Briscoe has I think maybe they're putting a pause on that because now Mark Briscoe has set his sights on Kyle Fletcher in the TNT championship. And Don was like, well, you have to go through my guy first. And he's like, well, then if I beat him, do I get this match? And, Don wouldn't really answer him. So that seems to kind of be where he is. And then the CMLL anniversary show is next month, and Mystico and MJF are having a title. I believe it's a title versus mask match because MJF would not do a hair versus hair mask match.
Of course he wouldn't.
Clearly, because as Haley, who writes for Vice, did her journalistic duty, she asked him if it had anything to do with his trip to Turkey. And why he would not do a hair versus hair match, and he said he didn't know what she was talking about, and why did that trip have anything to do with that question? Oh my gosh, which is great. So shout out to Haley for doing her journalistic duty and asking the important questions about why he would not do that match. But like that's coming up, so like he's gonna be busy, and so I'm sure. I would not be surprised if he ends World's End. Perhaps being the champion because that's when the Devil storyline played out and all that terrible, like still one of the worst storylines ever. So I could see him maybe trying to get some redemption there. And then of course the other complaint, which Daza mentioned, was the Ospreay angle. We're hinting, they're hinting Ospreay's having surgery. After this match, he's having surgery. But then they did this whole angle afterwards where they
wrote him off.
Right. They wrote him off TV, even though they told us all show long.
All the reason.
Then you had this incredible video package that plays before, and it's Alex Windsor reading this letter to her fiance, and it was super emotional. They show Ospreay. He's clearly crying because I don't know that, because Nikki said, she was like, did they play this for him like before, like so he knows what to expect? But based on that reaction, I don't think he did. I think he heard that for the first time, and he's like crying coming out to the ring. And then he's like super, like if they had done that angle, just the angle, and not had the other stuff, I think the angle itself would have been fine. But to tell us over and over he's having heart surgery, and then you write us off, like, or they do this write-off angle, like I felt like that was a little much, and so I can see why.
Because I mean that's a little overdone because we all knew he had already told us everything. Like we knew everything. Now the biggest concern that is going around, I guess, from where I saw is this goodbye? Like, is what's going on with him? I mean, now again, repeat, he's got a C2 injury, which is the second one down from the top where your brainstem plugs in.
Right. Like this is
So
very
that's
serious.
important.
That surgery he had was because he's already had surgery. Swerve has already had surgery. I think if I'm not mistaken, they had surgery the same day.
It was like a surgery palooza. It was like the last day of the NFL season over at AEW there.
Right.
Like everybody gets a surgery. You get a surgery, you get a surgery.
Right. Hopefully they got a discount.
Seriously.
They have buy one get one 50% off surgery for the AEW.
We had a Groupon.
Right, exactly. So and then on the other hand, like Hook just came back. They have said Orange Cassidy should be back anytime now.
That's good.
He's been cleared for a little bit. He was telling people that at All In at the at Starcast. He told some people that, and so like we already knew. So he should be here. I would not be surprised if he comes back during the Chikara. I mean, I'm not sorry. Thinking because he was in Chikara
so many times.
when he gets to 2300 Arena because Orange Cassidy wrestled for Chikara is where I was. My brain jumped ahead of me a little bit, but he has history there as well.
Yep.
So I could see him returning at some point in the next 2 weeks there, especially with just with the Death Rider stuff that they're doing. Because somebody pointed out that picture and they're like, are we finally doing it? And it's that picture that we saw at the end of World's End last year. And it was Orange, Hook, Darby, and I'm blanking on who the fourth wrestler was.
Would it be Jack Perry?
I don't think it was Jack. It was the four of them. And so they were like, somebody asked the other day, is this what we're doing? Because Hook is back. Maybe it was Daniel Garcia.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
It was Daniel Garcia.
And they are doing stuff with Danny, obviously, because of the crap that went on last night.
Mm-hmm. So maybe this picture is playing out. So it would make sense if Orange Cassidy is getting ready to come back. I mean, they could save him for All Out because it's the 20th of September. So, but I would expect him back in the 2300 Arena. And then Eddie should be back at some point as well. Like we are getting close to him coming back. And I mean, I really was hoping he was coming back at All Out, but I mean, Forbidden Door. But as I said, I'm just going to keep guessing Eddie until he comes back. But he seems to be, I think he's cleared or getting close enough to it. So I'm thinking they're probably just waiting for storyline purposes to find out where to bring him back. But I definitely think he's going to be involved in the Death Riders. I mean, perhaps they wait until, because I fast forwarded through the promo because I was behind. And I don't care about what Gabe Kidd has been. I guess he challenged Darby. Did he challenge Darby for All Out? Or
I don't know if
did
it
they
was
not?
For All Out or this upcoming Dynamite? Because
I wasn't sure. So
they are stacking this Dynamite pretty mightily right now.
Right. So I guess regardless, either way, perhaps that's how Eddie comes back because again, Gabe is the one who injured him. So maybe
Andy needs to beat Claudio's ass because that's his best friend and his arch nemesis. So it's I mean, that takes out two of the Death Riders right there. I mean, I figured the Mad King will be angry enough when he comes back that he can definitely clean house with this Death Rider storyline.
Sure. And so now, so maybe he comes to Darby's aid and kind of helps him there. So I think, so I would think so, even though, yes, it's huge that we're missing Ospreay and Swerve, but they've also got Orange Cassidy should be back anytime now. Hook, not that Hook is on that level, but Hook is back now. They're strongly hinting at Jack Perry.
They can push him.
Yeah, and they're strongly hinting at Jack Perry returning, probably related to Luchasaurus.
Okay, good.
But they're heavily hinting at him. Also, speaking of, BTE has had 2 episodes. They had an episode the Friday before All Out, where they were trying to figure out what to call their finisher, and they decided to go back to call, and then they waited and they said it during the pay-per-view. It is the BTE trigger again.
Nice.
Because they were like, we can't call it for EVP trigger. So it's like 2 minutes of them just trying to figure out what to call it. Well, then Monday they had a 48-second episode, and they're sitting around eating pizza, drinking glass bottles of Pepsi, and a phone rings, and I can't remember which brother. I think it's Nick. He looks at it, says Jack Perry's calling, and he silences, and they go back to watching their main event match. But then they slowly pan over the 6 glass bottles of Pepsi. I mean, that's not a reference. I don't know. I mean, this is right up the BTE alley. This is what they do. I was like, I will take 2-minute episodes of BTE. I will take 48
Oh
seconds.
yeah.
BTE. Like, I'm so happy. I will
Any
take those.
BTE is good BTE.
Right, exactly. So
that was why when the gummy bear thing like erupted online, I was like, do you guys understand who these people are? Have you been watching the Young Bucks for the last like 8 years?
Not at all. So
I was like, that was like, I loved that. I thought that was the most.
Spot made me like, I loved it because I mean, clearly, I'm sure this is where it was inspired from. But when Revolt wrestled the Bravados for the tag titles at PWX, they had a gummy bear spot. So Nikki and I frequently, like, whenever there's a bag of thumbtacks, one of us will just be like, what if those are gummy bears, or wish they're gummy bears? So then we actually got them, and it was great. And apparently this is something that Matt has had, that Matt has had problems with gummy bears before. And then also, as people have explained, including Ricochet, the prop guys are no longer afraid of the Young Bucks because they're not EVP.
Right, so they replaced
they're the ones
with gummy bears.
Right. So they had the back assuming it was thumbtacks, and so they opened it, and while he was distracted, they went ahead and they sold it as a thumbtack spot, and I thought it was hilarious. And it's on brand with everything the Bucks are doing.
100%.
The story that they're telling with the EVPs, because they're not EVPs anymore, they're nobody's afraid of them. They don't care. Clearly, we see that week in and week out.
Mbop.
Right. They have a shirt that says Bucks on it, and it's the cover of that album. Like,
aren't you glad you guys are reading their book right now?
Yes. And so
I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't read the book. That popped me hard.
Yeah, and so it's funny because the day before they did a signing at Blackcraft. It's not Blackcraft. What is it called? Is it Blackcraft, the one that makes or is it Blacksmith? They make the apparel. I know that Brad has their jerseys, but they make wrestling apparel that are like, they look like the football kits, but it's for wrestling. So the Young Bucks were doing a signing there.
That's awesome.
And you could hear, thank you, it is Blacksmith. You could hear Mbop playing in the background, but what I loved about that video is there's somebody helping them with the banner, and it was Zane from Revolt. It was, because I was scrolling and I was like, wait a minute, I know that person, and went back and I was like, I guess I told Nikki and joked around it was a proof of life video because he deleted all his social media like a year or so ago. We haven't seen him since we ran into him at not Collision this year, but Collision last year, because he helps with merch. And so I was like, he's still alive. I was like, everybody's talking about Mbop, and I was like, no, there's Zane Riley. He's still there. He's still alive. So
they're the kings of Easter eggs. They love this kind of humor. This is all like, I loved it. I thought the whole match was great, and I just thought that was, again, I think that people are just, they want to they're like, how could you call this serious? So get out of here.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Yes, I would definitely. That's pretty solid wrestling merch purchase.
It was great.
The internet needs to go outside.
Yeah,
especially before the winter.
It was a ton of fun. I loved that.
The whole show was great. I thought that they sold Wembley to the rafters. All those people got what they wanted. Now that show was booked for a specific. I think what the real complaint is here is that this had to be tweaked to be booked to a Wembley audience and not an America audience. And I think everything right now is people are so doofy in their noodle right now that, for lack of saying it, is that they're like, this is like Disney. It's like, yes, because they had to book it for a British crowd a little bit more, because it's literally in Britain, dorks. Like, you wouldn't book an American show in Japan.
The British sense of humor as well, like doing that.
Well, they did a lot of homage. That kind of stuff is like World of Sport, British wrestling, Vic Faulkner and Johnny Saint. They did a lot of serious wrestling, but they did a lot of funny shit, and they like talked to the audience, and they were very like Yano-esque, or think Colt Cabana.
It was giving a little bit of DDT as well. Like, that's the type of stuff.
That's like Colt Cabana watched like British World of Sport was one of like the hugest influences on him. So like, if you like Colt Cabana, that's the kind of wrestling style that makes British old school British wrestling is like. So
Yes,
to me, I felt like they really did a great job of booking for the audience in the building.
Yeah, I thought it was great. And apparently from the fans that I've seen talk about it who were there, they loved the show. They thought that, everybody was into it. And so it made me laugh though. So of course, Booker T is one who has been one of the more vocal people because who he admits I watched parts of the show and then he came on to rage bait about it, which clearly worked because here we are talking about it. It wasn't just him. There were plenty of people talking about this spot, but Ricochet responded and it was a clip of Booker T versus Stone Cold in the grocery store. And Booker T is laid out or squirming around on the floor as Stone Cold pours a bag of sugar on him. He was like, so. And Ricochet's argument because somebody, I can't remember who it was, they were like, I thought the 2 title matches were fine. I don't see what the problem is. And Ricochet said it didn't happen in WWE, so people are complaining about it, which I kind of felt the spot. And, and Fernando, you are allowed to have your opinion. He did not like the Gummy Bear spot. He felt it was WWE, which is funny that you have Booker T complaining about it when he did a sugar spot, but he is the one complaining about it. And and I didn't want to feel like we were singling Fernando out, but which again, you're free to have your own opinion and feel what you feel about it. But it's just funny that Booker T has done similar. This man used to come out as King Booker. He used to wear a crown and a cape and talk with a terrible accent. And
WWE has been the wildest place in the world.
He called his own match while doing the King Booker commentary. Like he was calling his own match as King Booker. Or King Booker. So Booker T has, I know he's employed by WWE. He's gonna say things about him. He's gonna constantly talk about it. But it's just, he's one of the last people who should be complaining about anything. But
if he needs to go watch the show so he can like you said, rage bait on Twitter, then thank you for continue to pay for AEW's prosperity.
Right. As I said, actually thinking about it, as it was a British show, it should have been Jelly Babies, not Gummy Bears.
Fair enough. This is true.
Note for next time. Yeah.
That would have been slightly funnier.
Yeah, Booker T floated around with worms during his feud with Boogeyman, which is just giving to Fernando's opinion of this being very WWE.
I get that I get like that it could come off as WWE. In my mind, it came off as very Young Bucks.
That's how I came.
And that's the point of view, and everybody's point of view is going to come out differently. Sure. So
yeah. For sure. And I can understand from Fernando's point of view and other people who do not have who maybe don't have the Young Bucks lore or didn't realize, it's the prop guys are messing with the Young Bucks. Of course,
they're jerks to everybody for like a year and a half, 2 years.
Right.
They've literally pissed off everyone to the point of the prop guys being like, here's your tax.
Well, and that's what they keep telling them. Where like, you're going to say our names right. You're going to play our proper music. You're going to put the correct pictures up. Like, you're going to do all of these things. And then they're like, sure. And so then they come out, to Slick Nick and Mr. Instant Replay. They come out to their PWG.
I love when Justin Roberts read that thing word for word.
He reads it word for word. And it's pissing them off. Like,
make it sound good, not like we're jerks or just like, my God.
So it does have elements of WWE, but I feel like to them it was a callback to their indie days and to their lore. Which, of course, not everybody knows.
Well, and they grew up
and we're also reading their books, so we know a little bit more. We watch BTE, so that's like up their alley. But it does have
elements. They grew up watching WWE just like the rest of
us. Exactly.
And at the time when they were becoming wrestlers, because there was no AEW at the time, the aspiration for them would clearly, at least when they were young and before they realized that wasn't their goal, would have been to be in WWE. So... Right. I think we're all influenced by it. We can't help it. It's one of the biggest wrestling companies. Yeah. For all of us North American people, that's wrestling, whether we like it or not. Right. We still get WWE brain all the time. We are admitted recovering WWE brained people.
Right. I follow the WWE logic.
Every day of recovery takes time.
Right.
Admitting you have a problem is the first step.
Right. Daza said, Brad said, speaking of old school British wrestling, having Johnny Saint there popped me. ZSJ versus Nigel was my favorite match of the night.
Me too. I was so excited about
it.
that.
Having Johnny Saint and I just blanked on the other. Was it Marty? Was that his name? The guy sitting with Johnny Saint.
Oh yeah, I
just blanked on his name because for his name is actually one I'm not familiar. I mean, not that I'm super familiar with British wrestling, but of course Johnny Saint is a name I've heard.
If you ever get bored, read the wrestling. It's so
I
good.
should.
It's all about the history of British wrestling. You guys would both appreciate it. A great
Marty Jones. Thank you. I knew it was Marty. No disrespect to him. He's not somebody I'm familiar with. Again, I'm not super familiar with the British scene, especially coming up. But Johnny Saint is a name I've heard.
Like members of
William Regal talk for like 10 minutes. You will hear Johnny Saint's name. Yeah. So that's a name I'm familiar with. But I'm really glad they brought them out and had that there. I liked the opening video they did with Johnny Saint playing chess with Zach and giving him advice. And I loved that match. I thought it was so good. Nigel is still phenomenal. Zach is the best. We're getting so Zach versus Takeshita at October at King of Pro Wrestling, which may not mean anything, but that is where Zach beat Naito for the title last year, was at King of Pro Wrestling. I don't think necessarily, it just kind of depends on what their plans are for Takeshita in New Japan. But that match is happening. And the first two during the G1 were incredible. So I cannot wait for this one, because this one be for the title.
That's the one that makes sure before Wrestle Kingdom.
Yes, right.
Yep.
And so whoever has that title coming out of that will go into Wrestle Kingdom as the champion.
Right.
So super looking forward to that. And I'm sure I have not watched speaking of Strong Style, so I don't know if they talked about it last week, or because I don't know when the announcement was made. I just happened to see it over the weekend. So I'm sure they're gonna have some thoughts about it. But yeah, so overall I thought Forbidden Door was a really good show. I
did too.
Loved Kyle Fletcher versus Haramu. That might
that was so good.
That might be I don't know if that's my match of the night. It's certainly up there. I love it. I knew that it was gonna be great, and Haramu's so good.
He is so good.
So good. And of course we know that Kyle is on this incredible run. And he's just like this force. But I thought Haramu, I thought he killed it. I thought he earned, he proved why, we knew watching him, we knew
he's like the Super Junior.
I think he proved it. He proved that match, because people of course are like, oh, you want the best pound for pound wrestler? Well, Haramu
he's great.
Gave Kyle that. He gave him the best pound for pound wrestler. I thought he gave him one of the best matches he's had. And so I really enjoyed it, and more Haramu. The more Haramu,
yeah, all the Haramu.
I will take all the Haramu. And I like the main event. They had that made me think of Tana. Speaking of him, Tana is trying to climb the ladder, and Kota Ibushi. If Kota Ibushi is telling you not to climb a ladder, it's a bad idea. And then
right, if Kota Ibushi is the voice of reason in the room, something has gone gravely wrong.
Right, especially when the two people are Tana and Kota Ibushi. And if Kota has more sense than Tana, we have a problem. You should listen. But I enjoyed the match. The Darby ear spot made me squirm a lot, because it was very reminiscent of the Randy Orton, Jeff Hardy spot with the earring and that stuff.
Yeah.
But it fit in with what they were doing. Jon Moxley will, we've talked about it many times, actually mentioned it again yesterday. Jon Moxley has his levels. He brought a little bit of his GCW version of himself into that match as much as he can. But I thought it was fun. I really enjoy what the Death Riders are doing now that they don't have the titles. Colin said that they also thought about the Hell in a Cell match too with the ear spot. That's the first thing my mind went to.
Yeah,
was that. I did see the clip of that. Brad says, speaking of Tana, he had a match against Dino today at the DDT show, and it was incredibly gay and incredibly amazing. Yeah, awesome. I saw the clip, and the first comment was embarrassing. I'm like, do you know? You don't know anything about DDT. I already know. That clip was great. And Tana his retirement run is unmatched. John Cena wishes his retirement run could be what Tana's is.
I actually, you know, I was like, don't die doing what you're doing. But also I was like, you know what? This is it. And he knows it.
Yep.
And I was like, oh my God, I love you so much. You've given me so many years of joy. And I even came in late to the game. I was like, go for it, man. Like,
you and I are late to the Tana
he
party.
is killing his.
We didn't get here till like 2017, 2018. So
Yeah.
we're way late to the party. But for what we have seen of Tana,
oh man,
we love
he
him.
is the ace of the universe.
He is. He's great. I love him so much. And even if his little knees he can't run anymore, that's quite all right.
I know, but I think this is like great. I think you're totally right about this. He's like checking all these boxes that you couldn't have done even 10 years ago.
Yeah.
If Tana had retired 10 years ago, he wouldn't have this level of access. He wouldn't be able to like, we'd just be watching him on New Japan television. Whatever.
Yeah. I wanted to go back, since we were talking about Death Riders, I want to go back to this comment real quick, because we made a reference to the about how Jon Moxley said something to Daniel Garcia last night, and then Daddy Magic was like, what in the world are they talking about? Tony Schiavone asks him, he's like, I have to ask you, what did he say? And it's like, it doesn't matter what he said. What matters is I've been chasing Jon Moxley for 5 years. He has everything I want. He has the legacy. He has the respect. I want all of that. So I am coming for him. We're getting the match between them. So Fernando thought that Daniel was joining the Death Riders. I think it's certainly possible. And I think Daniel might be, if that's what's happening, Daniel may be more likely than Stat. But Brad brings up a good point. That he doesn't think the Mox stuff is leading to Stat or Danny joining the Death Riders. His original statement, which is correct, is he wants the young talent to step up. That's what Mox is doing. He's getting in their ears and stepping up. And if you have noticed, who are all of Jon Moxley's opponents? They're all the young guns. It's the young people that he believes is the next. Like, he's wrestled Speedball. He's wrestled Kevin Knight. He's wrestled, I keep wanting to say Yuta, and it's clearly not Yuta. But he's getting wrestling to wrestle Daniel Garcia. Who did he just wrestle? There was somebody else. I feel like I'm forgetting, but I can't.
I'm terrible.
Why it has left my brain. I'm sure somebody in the chat will remind me. So, and that's what his whole thing has been, is I want you to step up. I want 1 million more Jon Moxleys. I want you to.
Oh, yeah. That's a great point, Brad, because he did say he was looking to get everybody revved up and light a fire under everybody's bum. Right. So maybe this will be.
So, and I think that, like we talked about last week, like, he went and beat up the Young Bucks to get Stats money for her. And then you have Harley, who has no fear of Jon Moxley.
Oh, yeah. I love that.
She doesn't care.
Nope.
She's like, whatever. Okay.
She could potentially be another one. I actually, when we were watching Collision, I was like, Tony has a stacked ass roster, dude.
He does. Like, you have
so much talent.
You can just go off vibes and just book matches like an hour before the show. Like, that's when because I was writing my preview yesterday for Collision, and he had announced like 3 matches in an hour, and my preview was supposed to go up an hour before Collision starts. So I was like, the way he's announcing stuff, I'm gonna wait till 7, see if he announces anything, and he didn't. And then at like 7:13, he
of course
announces the JD Drake match.
Right.
But then he just has having other, and then we get, Alex Windsor is in action. And so, like, he was totally just, and I know some of it is probably because people probably are recovering from Forbidden Door, but he was also just like, what match do I want to see tonight?
Right. Well, I mean, he's back at the ECW arena, and he gets to book all of the matches, so he's just having a good old time.
Right. And Daza says that's consistent because that's what the original remit of the BCC was, really, which is a fair point. Jon Moxley is staying on brand with Jon Moxley. Like, we've talked about this before. Like, I understand some of the complaints when Jon Moxley was champion, but I don't think his run as the champion was nearly as bad as some people have made it out to be. And some people
you're right.
And some people were making it out to be like, this is ruining his AEW legacy. Please
not
stop
a
talking.
thing.
It's not.
That's not a thing.
That's not happening. Please be quiet.
Whatever. If you think that,
totally fine. Like, if you didn't like what he was doing with that, fine. That's a valid argument. But to say that it's so bad, it's ruining his AEW legacy is crazy. Especially when this man has saved AEW's ass on so many occasions. This man still has not gotten his vacation, and probably doesn't want one.
I don't think he does.
His idea of a vacation is going to wrestle in New Japan.
Yeah.
He's not taking
what
time
it
off.
is. I don't think he wants a vacation. I think he's like, ladies, when he sees his wife and child, he's like, ladies, you're on your own.
Yeah. Right. And Fernando says he's looking forward to Darby versus Gabe Kidd. Like, yeah, that should be a really. I can't really tell what they're doing with Gabe Kidd and Death Riders. I don't think that they really even know either, because he's kind of just there and is like completely opposite of what he was doing in New Japan. And I mean, I guess he's just there to make money and fight people, which I guess, that's really some people, that's what they wrestle for. So I don't know. This Gabe Kidd stuff has been really interesting with the Death Riders. It just seems like he's there because Tony likes him and wants him on TV, and just put him with he's the bad guy. Just put him with them. That's what it kind of seems like. But yeah, so I'm really looking forward to what happens in there wasn't a whole lot of fallout from next week. I mean, from last week, other than like we did get Tony Tony Storm was in action last night. She was in a trios match with her girlfriend Mina and with Queen Aminata because they're clearly setting up that blood and guts match, and Jamie is clearly the fifth for the baby faces. She's cool. As soon as she came out, I was like, there's your number 5, because I had been posting about how they needed a 5th baby face, and I was like, there she is. It's Jamie. And so they're definitely setting up for that. They're keeping Tony kind of in the mix. I don't know what comes next for Tony. If it is going to be like Tony versus Mercedes, and Mercedes beating her for number 10 makes a lot of sense. But then, of course, you can't have Mercedes having both titles for too long. And I don't think that they would if they go that route where Mercedes has 2 of the titles, whether that's the world title and the TBS title, or the TBS and the ROH title. I don't see her holding both titles very long. Like, Wrestle Dream is probably where she's dropping the TBS championship. She's going to have a great match with Alex Windsor on Wednesday. I'm sure that's going to be a fantastic match. And so, yeah, somebody's has to, like Mercedes, Tony's title run has got to come to an end soon.
Yeah.
And again, she's a phenomenal champion, but we've got to get that belt away from her. And so then, like, you have the belt collector story. So yes, it makes a ton of sense for Mercedes to get that 10th title. That's the one title she can't get. But then on the other hand, you can't have 2 titles wrapped up in the same champion for too long. And then also, Tony has had that title for 2-ish years or whatever. And so you've got to it would be nice to have that title not on somebody named Tony or Mercedes as well. So it's kind of interesting. I'm not really sure where they're going with this. And especially now that Mercedes is hinting at getting Athena's title, which I don't love. I mean, I don't hate it because it goes with the belt collector gimmick, but I do kind of hate it in that, like, I guess it would be better than her vacating it, which I do not want her to vacate that title.
Yeah.
But before we get into that, let me get to USVA's guys' comments real quick. That from domestic and international New Japan fandom perspectives, Forbidden Door was a good show, but nothing special. The issue is people are looking at TK's comments at the meeting. The post-scrum, the final question during the post-scrum was very telling, and I got to ask the question. And so originally, when I was going to ask the question, it was about the tag thing, but then I asked about this, and I think some people, I don't know if they read his full response to me, or if they just read the one part about Tsuji and didn't read the rest of what he said. And I'm not saying he shouldn't be criticized for his answer, but his answer obviously was that talent were not being made available to him, which again, that's not Tony's fault. If Gato is not making people available, then that's on Gato. How much of that is true? Obviously, I don't know. I'm just going based on what Tony said to me when I asked him. But if Gato is saying that these people are unavailable, or Tsuji is saying he's unavailable because he's in Mexico, then that's on. There's only so much Tony can do. And he did say that with the show being earlier next year, which they did not announce, but I guess that's because WWE counterbooks everything that they say. So they didn't announce when the next Forbidden Door is going to be. But it's supposed to be earlier than G1 and the Stardom. I believe it was the 5-Star Grand Prix, I think, was the tournament that was happening at the same time. It's supposed to be before both of those. So talent should be available from both companies, and they plan next year to have a more New Japan versus AEW
The first
card,
two
or
were
at
in
least
June.
more New Japan talent available for that card.
Because the
And
first
so-
one was definitely in June. It was June 22nd.
Yeah.
And I think the second one was close to the same time. It was like the third week in June or something. But that's
Mhm.
before the G1, which makes more sense.
Mhm.
Because
So we will
you're not
see.
going to want anyone. I mean, they might. I guess it depends. I mean, they won't want to. But it's far enough out if you do it like on the 22nd-ish, like that second or third week of June, that it keeps the talent at low risk that might be in
Right.
the G1 at the same time. So
Yeah. Yeah, I know Gabe is there to fill Pac's spot, but yeah, he's also just kind of there too. I mean, I do know that they need someone to fill, to be there in Pac's spot. Fernando says Moxley's reign was over criticized. The Death Rider story was not booked very good. Yeah, I mean, there are some legitimate criticisms with that story with John Moxley's his title reign. I definitely don't deny that because there's some issues that I had with it as well, but the other stuff is crazy. But yeah, hopefully, and I understand like the New Japan fans are obviously going to see things differently than AEW fans or AEW/New Japan fans, and I get it, and they're not wrong for feeling the way that they feel. I don't necessarily agree with some of the things, but I mean they have valid opinions and criticisms about it. Hopefully next year ends up being what they say,
Right.
and that we can get this booked better. Because as a fan of both companies, I would prefer things like Kyle and Hiromu. Like when that's the type of match, Kyle versus Hiromu is, which I said this on Blue Sky, that is what I want to see in my Forbidden Door cards. I want matches like that.
Yeah.
That's what I want. Give me, now that I know that it's a thing, I don't know if Swerve, I don't know what his timetable is. So maybe we don't get Swerve versus Suji next year on the Forbidden Door card because I don't know. I haven't heard what his time frame is. But if Swerve is healthy and Suji is healthy, I would like to, now that I know that that was a possibility, I want that match now. But regardless, you put Suji on that Forbidden Door card, and you probably let him win after the comment that you made about how some people said that he wasn't as known and should not be in that spot. Even though you agreed with maybe Tony that time, you should have listened to yourself.
Yeah, that's
done that. So maybe you put Suji on that card and you let him win, even if it is against Swerve. Maybe you book Suji to win.
Give them a little give back.
Please. Mm-hmm. And if Suji is all people, Suji's great.
He's awesome. And if you don't know who he is, then bring him here because that's the entire point is that you expose more people to him. But there are enough.
If he's available, if Gator makes him available in any way, please bring Suji.
We wouldn't have a Forbidden Door show if people weren't interested in New Japan wrestling.
Right.
That the entire point was that we were all interested enough and that we all wanted to see these two companies like working together from the jump. So
right.
It's silly. That's on Tony for thinking that Suji's not.
Well, apparently he thought he wanted Suji. It was people around him talked him out of it. And then Ospreay and said, hey, I guess he heard about like people being like Swerve is the new champion. He needs somebody more established. And then Ospreay was like, hey, I can wrestle Swerve if you need somebody. And then he thought about, I guess, all the comments and then went against himself and booked Ospreay. Not that Swerve and Ospreay was not great because but he should have. That's one call where maybe he should have listened to himself and booked Suji and I'm sure Yota Tsuji, even like last year versus this year, is even better than he was last year. So perhaps waiting will turn out to be the right call because Tsuji's already getting better as it is. And by the time we get to Forbidden Door next year, he's going to be even better than he already is. So maybe it will be worth it. But I still think that's Swerve. I want, now that I know it's out there somewhere at some time, please give me Swerve versus Suji.
Yes, please.
It doesn't even have to be on Forbidden Door at this point. Just give it. No. I just would like it. USVA guy said the final question was asked about the future of the relationship with New Japan and Forbidden Door, possibly in Japan. Tony thanked Tanahashi at the end of the conference and didn't address anything. Oh, he said, I believe he also said, but that's when he started talking about. Wait, was that the final question? Or is that? Oh, that might have been from the scrum, not the media call. Because on the media call, that was
he's
not
talking
last
about the
question.
scrum, the post-show scrum.
I did watch it, but I can't remember. Or was that might have been when I had already had I don't know if that's when I already had to switch it over to WWE stuff, and so I don't know why I'm blanking on what that answer is. I mean, I think that so it made. I mean, I wouldn't read too much into it. But I get. I mean, I understand why.
Well, it's not. I mean, I guess it's not a great look.
It's not a great look. Yeah, sure. I can see that. I wouldn't read too much into it. But people are always going to read a lot into what Tony says when it comes to New Japan, which understandably so, given the relationship and the way New Japan fans feel about it. But I personally wouldn't.
Well, and both guys are protecting their brands. Like, that's
right.
No matter what, at the end of the day, like, they have to protect the best interest of their companies and them being prosperous in a very difficult financial situation. So,
I mean, maybe that's why they didn't answer.
I hope that it doesn't sour the relationship, because that would be a damn shame.
I hope not either. And I mean, my assumption is the reason they didn't announce Forbidden Door is because they get counterbooked with everything. Because every time especially if it's overseas, then they book before. That way that they can't get the venues and stuff. So hopefully them not announcing the show doesn't have anything to do because the relationship is questionable. I'm hoping it's because they're just trying to protect everything, because as soon as they announce something, WWE immediately counterbooks. So I'm hoping it's because they're protecting that and protecting wrestling in London and things like that. Maybe that's why. And hopefully it's not because there's something deeper going on with that relationship. But maybe that's me just being optimistic that's what's happening. But yeah, so we'll circle yet again back to Death Before Dishonor. So originally when I made this what are we doing here, it was because I was very irritated with what we were doing here at the time, which was they hardly no foreign matches were announced. I was thinking about the title picture because I had just watched where they said because Dustin Rhodes obviously is a double champion. He was was at the time, he was the double champion. He was one half of the tag team champions with Sammy Guevara, and he was also 1/3 of the 6-man champions with Von Erichs. And then they didn't actually vacate the titles. They said that Sammy was going to fill in for Dustin in the trios match, and then Sammy was going to have a mystery tag partner for the tag team title. And I was like, why? Like, Dustin's not coming back anytime soon. He had double knee replacement surgery.
Right.
And he's older, so it could take him longer to heal.
It's going to take a minute.
He's got to get back into in-ring shape. On top of that, like, you've already held these titles kind of hostages because Sammy had been injured for a while. The Von Erichs were injured, so the trios titles weren't defended for months. And so I was super annoyed when I read that. There are some questionable things that did happen in this show. mainly being that apparently, so first, well, we'll just go with it. So the main thing that I have, what are we doing here, is Sammy Guevara mystery. So they were wrestling the Outrunners. That's who the titles were against. His mystery opponent, well, first of all, he teases on the pre-show. He tells Lexi, I know you're trying to break the walls down. And guess who my partner is going to be? And I was like, oh my God, if it's Latex Gods, I'm going to scream. I'm going to send somebody to kick Tony in his shins. Like, please don't make it Jericho. Luckily, it was not Jericho. However, it was Roosh. Which at the time, didn't really make any sense. So the Outrunners, who were super over in both companies, getting title shots, did not win this match. Sammy Guevara is still your ROH Tag Team Champion with Roosh because apparently he has joined LFI. And Dralisico wrestled on the pre-show. He won his $50,000 match, which now makes sense because they had to get Dralisico a win. Beast Mortos was not there, but I believe Beast Mortos is wrestling in Mexico. So I think that's why he wasn't there. I don't like Beast Mortos in LFI as it is because, as we have talked about, Roosh and Dralisico publicly supported Stephanie Vacker's abuser. And so I don't care for LFI, and I would like Beast Mortos away from them because I love my tribal chief. I don't want him. I would like him not to be there. And now what's even more interesting is Sammy Guevara and Beast Mortos potentially being in the same faction when Sammy made some extremely inappropriate comments about Mercedes Moné years ago. He did apologize to her.
Right.
He apologized to her publicly and privately. I'm not sure if Mercedes accepted the apology. She may have. That's her thing. And perhaps they are okay with this. But he's also been kept off of AEW television since she's been there. Is that because of her? I don't know. Or is it just because they were keeping him in ROH? Maybe. So maybe it has nothing to do with Mercedes. But having Beast Mortos and Sammy Guevara in the same faction is a little... I don't know how that's going to work out. I mean, maybe it's fine. Maybe because they're adults. Maybe they figured it out. Maybe they worked it out amongst themselves. But the optics of it was kind of, I was like, oh, that, okay. So yeah. And Sammy he said that before he was even signed to AEW, and Tony still suspended him for it when he signed him. He was suspended for several months. He had to go to, he had to take, I forget the type of classes. It wasn't anger. It was sensitivity training. Right. Yeah. That's right. And then he did make a YouTube video about it, and he turned off the AdSense. So he did not make money off of that video. So I'm sure. So more than likely it is possible that they have moved on. They're good. But just looking at it was just a little, I was like, oh.
Yeah. Okay. I can see that.
Yeah. I was just a little, but I do think Sammy is a better heel than a babyface. It's easier to boo him. And so as Kyle and Collins pointed out, Sammy he's self-aware and has said that he knows he has a very punchable face. So he knows that, and the fans were booing him. They boo him often when anytime he's involved in AEW, he gets booed. And and they kind of played in, so maybe they're just playing into it. And they're like, we might as well turn you.
Yeah,
and
right.
So because they booed him during the 6-man match, and they booed him during his own match, but they were cheering Roosh. So I think the Outrunners would have been the better choice here. But assuming and considering Tony likes to book his ROH champions on Collision and AEW television, I'm assuming we're going to get Sammy and Roosh defending their ROH titles on AEW television, which is on brand for Tony. Yeah. What he likes to do. So that's the kind of, I don't love this. I would have preferred the Outrunners to take those titles.
Yeah. They're so over.
Nikki says this is not any better than LASIK, guys. Yeah, I'm side-eyeing this whole thing. Maybe it will play out well. Maybe everybody is cool with each other. Maybe Beast Mortos replaces Sammy and they get Beast Mortos the hell out of LFI. Because they've been doing the thing where Beast Mortos was sometimes not getting along with them. They were kind of undermining each other. Then they kind of stopped that. So I don't know if Beast Mortos is, so if it's going to be the 4 of them now, or if Sammy is going to technically replace him. I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. But I am super excited that the 6-man titles are now on Shane Taylor Promotions. So my agenda, we are almost there. We have one person left who does not have a title, and I don't think that Anthony Ogogo, because Anthony Ogogo was with them, but I think he's more of a hype man / manager type person. He's not wrestling. I don't know if he's done wrestling altogether or they just haven't used him at all. So he doesn't count in my STP agenda as far as titles go. So Lee Moriarty retained his Pure title, which I highly recommend his match against Shelwa. That match was so good. Might be my favorite. Well, Lee's had some really other really great Pure title defenses, but Shelwa is really high up there. That was a really, really great match. The STP, finally, we have 4 of the 5 members have gold. Trish has the potential to get gold, but because they finally announced the women's Pure tournament. It finally started on Friday. They waited so if you did not hear, last Sunday, Queen Aminata could not fly home because Saturday night her bag got stolen. It had her passport, her credit card, her ID, her phone charger, like everything she needed got stolen. And people were joking that it was Tekla. And so she got her emergency passport. She wasn't supposed to get her emergency passport till Thursday. She ended up getting it Wednesday. She flew home Thursday, and they were waiting on her. And she flew in on Friday to start this tournament. And so she wrestled Taya Valkyrie. Queen Aminata advances. The next round is so Deanna actually comes out. So I missed the ROH media call because I was at the Roman had a recheck appointment, and so I missed the call. But I did hear it was only supposed to be a half an hour. But he ended up going an hour because according to John Alba, he spent 16 minutes and 38 seconds on a question about Deanna Purrazzo.
Whoa.
And so he answered, I haven't heard it, so I didn't hear the actual audio myself, even though I do have it. I just haven't listened to it. So John Alba, I guess, was the one who asked about Deanna because she's not been on TV. Deanna kind of opened up a little bit about it before, which I think is what led to the question, which was, Deanna wrestled, and actually Fightful had talked about this, and then I guess because it got out through Fightful, Deanna addressed it, and then Tony addressed it. So Deanna had a match in CMLL in December, and it was not good. The CMLL partners, according to Tony, were not happy with her. They were not happy with her match, and so he has kind of pulled her off TV to kind of like use this as a learning situation. She has, in the meantime, started taking some more indie dates, which I think is really smart. The more a wrestler can take indie dates, the better, because that's how you improve. Yeah. And so she's been taking indie dates. She is still taking indie dates. She posted the other day that she was. And so apparently Tony was like, I really like Deanna as a person. I think she's a great wrestler. I really like her. I would like to have her back on TV. It was very positive about the things he was saying with her. And he's like, I hope this is a learning experience for her, that she, and she seems to be doing the best. She's taking indie dates. And so then he talks about the Pure tournament, how it couldn't get started because of injuries, which we all knew. And so then it starts. And so Deanna comes out there and she gets in Queen Aminata's face. But Deanna is going to wrestle Trish Adora. So she's clearly looking right past Trish. And I don't like that. I was like, what are you doing? Why are we doing this here? And I agree with Brad. I hate that Deanna came out after the Queen won. She hasn't beaten Trish yet. Why would they do that? Now we know that Trish doesn't move on. Well, I saw, as soon as I saw the graphic, I was like, Trish and Yuka Sakazaki are losing in the first round.
That sucks.
Because Yuka is wrestling Serena Deeb. So clearly they're both. I love that they're in the tournament, but I don't like that they're losing in the first round. And so they did have a clip where Trish confronted Deanna and she was like, why are you overlooking me? Like, you have me next, not her. And she was like, well, you are right. I am overlooking you, but I'm overlooking everybody in this tournament because I'm the reason that the Ring of Honor women's division even exists. I was ROH women's champion, which she was back when Sinclair owned it. And so she was like, you should thank me for this division. You have a job because of me, which that's fine. They could have done that without Deanna going to the ring. They could have just left that part in there, but I guess that was the setup, her looking past Trish. But we knew Trish was going to lose, so Trish is not going to get whenever she gets her silver to match the rest of STP. It's not going to be the Pure title. It's either going to be the TV title, or maybe she'll be the one to dethrone Athena and she gets the women's title. I just don't like, because I feel like they disrespect Trish Adora a lot. And Trish is incredible, as we know, she's amazing. And I think so. Deanna seems like an obvious winner in this tournament. However, when this was originally announced, the story was around Serena and Queen Aminata, because that's where the feud started on Collision, when this tournament was supposed to start earlier in the year before the injuries. And actually, Queen Aminata was one of the people who got injured. She broke her hand and missed some time. And so they were, Serena kept trying to tell her what to do. Queen Aminata wasn't handled. It was like, I don't want your advice. And she was like, she's like, well, you keep losing. So here you go. Here's my book of, what is it? She's the, not 1,000 holds, because that's the Jericho thing, but her, I just forgot what Serena Deeb's thing is. But so she gave her this book that tells her like all these ways she can win matches. And she was like, I don't want this. And so it's probably coming down to Serena Deeb and Queen Aminata, and then Queen Aminata gets the title. That's where I assume this is going. Brad says, I don't want Deeb beating anyone for the title. Quite frankly, if it's not Trish, it should be Queen. I think Queen is the champion, but I do feel like she's going to beat Serena to get to her title, which I'm not crazy about it either. I'm right there with you. Tournament feels kind of, I guess this was the tournament they had laid out, but I really wanted Yuka I was hoping Yuka would be in this, but I don't like that she's losing in the first round. And Nikki says, I like Yuka way better, but I know he'll put Serena over Yuka. Use Yuka more, TK. We need more of the magical girl. 100%. I hope they use her more often. And I don't know why she's not used, because she's phenomenal. But yeah, so on the one hand, I'm super excited this tournament has started, but on the other hand, I don't like how they're going about it, and I don't like some of it. So that's what we're doing here with that. But I am super excited about STP.
It's getting underway, and the STP thing is awesome.
Yes, so he's at least listening to that part. What else? I was trying to think of what else was from this card. Was really great. I did not love the Blue Meanie coming out with Athena. The reason I did not love that is because 2 years ago, Jasmine St. Clair, who was his on-screen manager and his real life girlfriend, accused him of domestic violence. And so I did not love him coming out with Athena, but Athena talked about it afterwards and was talking about how her and her husband always do the Blue Meanie dance in their car. She told him when she first met him that she did and she loved. And so apparently she's a Blue Meanie fan, and that's why this came about. But I did not love it because of that. And I think a lot of people missed that, because actually when I brought it up the other day, I was like, didn't his partner accuse him of domestic violence? And they were like, I don't know. I don't remember. And so I went and I found the tweet. The tweet is still up. And I linked it in my article about it. It's still there. And I found a YouTube clip where she was on a podcast talking about it. So I did not love the Blue Meanie. And I'm sure he'll be back there on Wednesday for Taz, which, that's Taz's prerogative, but I don't love it. I did not love that at all. I get it for Athena from a fan perspective. For her, I'm sure she loved it, but because of the domestic violence, I did not like it, especially coming in for such a big match. Her and Mina looked great. Athena is now 69-0. Friday, she is barring anything happening. Friday, Athena will make it to 1,000 days as champion. Who is going to be the one to dethrone her? That is the question we have asked many, many times on this podcast.
For a long time.
For a long time. Billy is the most obvious, but Billy has also lost to her twice in these trying to get this title. They are not doing anything as of right now to make it where, because Billy was getting she's not getting jealous of Athena. She was getting mad at Athena because Athena was treating her like a minion. She was not respecting her and wouldn't let her do anything, was telling her what to do and was demanding she go do things that had nothing to do with wrestling. So they're not doing that, but we've talked about the fact that perhaps the reason Billy has been on TV more often is so when she does beat Athena, people know who Billy is. And it makes sense. But right now, in storyline, there is nothing happening to make me think that it's Billy. Could that progress in the next? I don't see Athena holding this title until Final Battle in December. But that's the next ROH pay-per-view. But you and I have talked about, if we do this match on TV, where do you do it? Well, they haven't announced the Grand Slam in the US, and it doesn't. That's usually in September, and it's not been announced. So I'm guessing it's not there. Homecoming. What was the reason? Because I talked to somebody about this the other day, and I was trying to think why they wouldn't do it at Homecoming. I think there was a reason that I said that it would not. Oh, Homecoming is if she were to lose it to Mercedes, Wait, no, that wasn't it either. Because I was thinking because Homecoming is before Wrestle Dream. So if Mercedes was involved, I don't know if they would have her win it before Homecoming. I mean, before Wrestle Dream. And Homecoming is before that. And then Winter is Coming is too far away. So unless they announce some branded Dynamite, is she going to lose the title in a random Dynamite or Collision? Which I don't know. I mean, perhaps. So then you have, sure, there's the Mercedes option. Mercedes can get her 10th title, but also Athena has done all this work for 1,000 days for the ROH women's division. What are you saying to that division if you don't have her, you put that on Mercedes and not somebody in that division, which says the same thing to me so I guess I like it more than vacating the title, but I still don't love it. The worst thing to me would be to vacate that title, because you can't have this woman hold this title for 1,000 days, have 69 defenses of it, to just leave it and walk away.
That tells
me you have no faith in your women's division.
Anyone.
Right, and anyone. And that you only think a big star like Mercedes is the only one who can beat her. I don't like that either. I like it more than vacating, but I would not like that. I don't care for that option, because I feel like whoever defeats Athena, you are setting up for success. To be the woman who ends a 1,000-day 3-year title reign. It's huge for that person. That tells me you think a lot of this person, that she is the one to defeat Athena after all of this time, and that you are setting her up for success, hopefully, and having her defeat this person. That's why I'm not thrilled with the Mercedes option, and I hate the vacating option, because I think that is wrong. Looking at that division, Queen Aminata is more in AEW now, because originally that was who I would want to defeat her if it's not going to be Billy. I would love it to be Trish, but they keep disrespecting her. And this stuff with the pure title, I don't think she's winning the pure title. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe she is winning the pure title, but I don't think she is. I think Aminata could, which then she'll just take the title to AEW, I guess. So then we have that issue again. But I don't know who they have not, the way they book that women's division, they have not booked anybody to be the one to dethrone Athena, which, I mean, I guess if she does keep the title through Final Battle, that gives you some story, some time to build up. But this is what we've been talking about. Like, you should have been doing this all along. Like, you're not building up any. So if it ends up being Billy, you're just throwing her in this situation. You're not building up the story for her to be the one to dethrone her, especially when she's already lost twice to Athena.
Although, I mean, you could call that the overcoming her one.
Sure, which they could do, which is, if it's Billy, that's probably the story they're telling.
I mean, that would be the story, is she's finally overcome her after all these times. That would be the best way to do that, is having it be that story.
Right. And so, Nikki says that, this was back about Blue Meanie, that she figured that Athena must have been a fan of his for him to be brought out. Maybe Billy and Athena doesn't know or remember, which is certainly possible. But then USVA guy says, unfortunately, Trish is disrespected because she has chosen to concentrate her learning from promotions in Japan to gain her proper experience. I mean, which is fair, but Billy has also done the same thing. Like, Billy wrestles in TJPW. But yes, Trish has gone to the dojo, which for me makes her even more of a threat, because she trained under Shibata when he was still coaching there. Like, that's who she trained under. Also, let's not forget, Trish held the Pan-African World Diaspora title for over 1,000 days, even longer than Athena has held the ROH Championship. Trish held that title. That is and that title is officially recognized by PW Insider or Pro Wrestling Illustrated. That is recognized as an official title and a big title. That title has a lot of prestige around it. I know it's not recognized, and currently the current champion is Khan. Khan has that title now. But yeah, and so yeah, and I know it doesn't sit well with some AEW folks that she chose, which is stupid. It's very dumb. Trish Adora deserves better. Trish Adora is incredible. Thank goodness for Shane Taylor.
Well, you should want your wrestlers to get better, no matter how they're getting better.
Right.
That just seems
That's
more
the
reasonable
whole point.
to
Like
me.
you're sending Deanna, you're telling
You're
Deanna
supposed to have a partnership.
Right. You're telling Deanna she needs to go do indies to improve, which she is correct. That's true. But Billy is going and she's wrestling in TJPW. You've had Willow has gone to TJPW. You've had Willow go to CMLL. You have Mercedes, who trains in Mexico. She's trained in Japan. That's your TBS champion is training all over the world. Like that should not be held against Trish Adora. And if it is, that's very unfortunate. And somebody please tell Tony, get the message to him that if it's him who has the problem with it, he needs to get over it. And he needs to put the title. But one of the three, you're going to have 3 women's titles by the end of this year. And one of those 3 should be on her.
Yeah.
And that's how I would do it. But yeah, I don't know. Jermaine says that if not Billy, then Serena Deeb or Persephone to beat Athena. I don't think it's going to be Persephone because she's only had a couple of matches. And I don't know that they're going to put that title on a CMLL wrestler. If they didn't put the ROH World Champion on Hechicero, or the championship on Hechicero this week, they're not going to put the women's title on Persephone. I don't think. And I don't really like the idea of Serena Deeb either, because I don't know. I just don't. I mean, she is a credible person to beat Athena, I guess, but she barely, again, I'm sure some of it is related to her health, but Serena barely wrestles. Serena hasn't wrestled in ROH since the spring, maybe, like March. Like, she's not wrestled at all. So I don't love putting a title on somebody who barely wrestles either, but granted, some of that could be related to her health issues, because obviously she missed some time because she had the idiopathic seizures that they don't know what was causing it. So perhaps that's why maybe they're just being careful with how they use her. But I don't love her as an option either when she's barely there.
Right.
But yeah, so I don't have an answer.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I just know the answer cannot be vacating that title. That should not
be good.
That should not even be on the table. I know that it is. But I hate it. And I'm going to, even though we've talked about it on here a million times, I'm also going to write about it because I hate it. I don't want, and as we've mentioned quite a few times, that's what happened in NXT to Ember Moon. She could not beat Asuka. Asuka held that title for 500 days, and instead of dropping it to Ember, vacated it, went to the main roster.
Yeah.
I don't love Athena repeating that story.
Yeah, that would be not cool.
After all this.
Not like that.
Yeah, not a fan of that at all. So we shall see how this plays out. I don't know I guess the focus now is going to be the pure thing. They haven't even announced how this is happening. I assume we're getting one match every Thursday until we crown a champion. Are we crowning a champion on ROH television? Or are you going to do the final on AEW television?
Huh.
I don't know. There we go. Daza said, well, first of all, Daza said, do a long storyline with Harlow Cameron, which would be crazy. And then get Marina Shafir finally wrestling and have her be the one. I wish that they would have Marina
that wouldn't be terrible.
Especially now that we've seen I've seen her in Revolver, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing, Tony? Again, what are we doing here? But yeah, so overall, Death Before Dishonor was really good. I was not as mad as I thought I was going to be going into this. But then I'm sure I'm going to get mad at TV again, because TV is just kind of there. We don't know where Dalton Castle is. Dalton Castle had a vignette before Supercard of Honor. They aired it once and have never aired it again. I don't know, knock on wood, if something has happened to Dalton. Dalton was out because of his back injury. Backs are obviously notoriously temperamental.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible that he has re-injured his back training or something like that? Could be. Maybe that's why we haven't seen Dalton. But they hinted he was coming, and then we have not seen Dalton at all. So hopefully everything is okay with him, and they're just trying to figure out when to bring him back. But also, if that's it, if he's healthy and cleared, what are we doing here? Please put Dalton Castle on my TV. And then and then I don't know. I would go back to Bandito and Hechicero. That was a phenomenal match.
Yeah, it was crazy.
My two, and I think I said this a couple of weeks ago, my two contenders for Wrestler of the Year are Bandito and Takeshita. And Bandito and Takeshita have wrestled each other, and that match was incredible. That's been my favorite Bandito match that he's had. The Bandito versus Hechicero immediately went on my match of the year contenders list. Love that. They got 37 minutes.
Yeah, they did. They got a long time.
Their final, in which I guess at first I was a little annoyed that Athena only got 25 minutes. But then I was like, well, I guess Athena should be beating Mina in 25. Like, she should be able to wrap it up and beat her. Not that Mina, and that's not to take anything away from Mina, because I think that was probably Mina's best match that I've seen. I thought Mina looked great in that match, and I really like her a lot. But at first I was a little annoyed because I was like, what do you mean they were getting 25 minutes when Bandito got 37? But it's because it took 37 minutes to beat Hechicero, because Hechicero kept coming up with stuff. And Hechicero has been one of my favorite wrestlers that I've been exposed to via CMLL. I think he's just...
Yeah, he's amazing.
I love him. And his matches with Zach have been great. I've seen him wrestle Zach several times, and I think they're like each other's favorite opponents right now. They both love wrestling.
I mean, that makes sense.
I really enjoy them. So I enjoy that match. I was like, on the one hand, I was like, do they put the title on Hechicero because he's a CMLL guy, but he's also in the Don Callis family. He's super over in both companies. If they were to do it, Hechicero would be the one. But also, Tony seems to really love Bandito. But so Bandito is Bandito Dos belts because he is one half of the AEW tag team champions. So yet again, another ROH title is tied up on a multi-champion. Right. How long do you do this? I assume he drops it at Final Battle. But to who? Because now Shane Taylor is, even though Collins, I'm with Collins on this too, that Collins, at some point, Shane Taylor has to be your world champion, your ROH world champion. That'd be awesome. That has to happen at some point. Also, I think
that'd be cool as hell.
Speaking of Shane Taylor, he was asked, because there's been various iterations of Shane Taylor promotions, and he was asked, like, what makes this current one different, the one with the infantry and Trish Adora, and he says, he was saying that he often gets asked, like, what was his favorite championship or something like that. And he said that win with the trios champion was the most important night of his 18-year career.
Wow.
Winning on Friday night meant that much to him, that it's nice. And more important than him being, and I think he said and I wish I don't want to butcher this, but he was the fourth black wrestler, black champion in ROH. I may have said that, but he was talking about that. But he was saying that this even means more to him than that did.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, that's pretty powerful. But it also just proves my point. That Shane Taylor promotions. And Shane Taylor is probably the greatest 6-man champion in ROH history, because he's had it various times with various iterations. So I don't know where they go with Bandito. Do you bring Dalton Castle has been a previous champion? Do you put it on something like if he's losing at Final Battle, you have time to build up someone. But that's the thing, you have to put in the effort to build up. Like, you need to put in effort for somebody to beat Athena. You need to put in somebody effort to beat Bandito, especially when Bandito is wrestling as well as he is, which is why I say force Bryan Danielson to become the ROH head booker. Just make him do it. Tell him he has no choice. Just let him do it. Jermaine says that that's another reason to have the Queen beat Athena after losing the tournament. I mean, you could do that if Aminata is not going to be the one to be the first pure champion, then you could. I'm all in on Queen Aminata being the one, because I think she's that talented. I think that she could do it. So if they find a way to get to Queen Aminata, I'll take it.
Yeah, that's great.
Jermaine says maybe sign Dakota Kai and Kanji and either have either one of them beat Athena. I mean, there's if they're doing that, it would be Shuri, I think. because I think Shuri is Athena's dream opponent. That was the match that was supposed to have been the match at Death Before Dishonor, and then Shuri got injured. So they could save that for Final Battle and have her lose at Final Battle. But I hope in the meantime, regardless of when Athena drops the title, they don't stop putting Athena on AEW television. And that was the biggest sentiment I saw from a lot of people when she lost on Sunday was, I hope this means that this doesn't mean that
she's disappear again.
Yeah. They were like, we want her on AEW television. And she did say after Supercard that she is an official member of the AEW roster and we'd be seeing more of her. So I hope that continues to be true.
Yeah, me too.
But the fans really want her. They keep asking for her. Brad says that Shuri was injured coming into All In. She was having surgery after the show before she worked. Oh, that is right. She was injured. I think kayfabe, they said she was injured at the show. I think was the kayfabe thing that they said, or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm misremembering that. But I do think I could see if they were going to bring in an outside person, that Shuri would be the one to beat her, which I would not be mad at that either. Yeah. Brad said, it was great seeing the Kingdom back and using their old theme Cathedral. This was the most ROH TV pay-per-view they've done. I like that. They set things up for TV with the Swirl, Jay, and the Kingdom. Yeah, I was glad that we haven't seen the Kingdom since like April, which I enjoy them, but it was one of those things where I was constantly watching them wrestle. They were wrestling ROH, then they were doing Collision. It was the same thing with Premier Athletes. Like it was constant. And I was like, you have other tag teams. Let's use them. Let's push some other tag teams. That's nothing against the Kingdom, but it was too much. I was like, please. And I thought that the Swirl, which is that's what they're calling Blake Christian and Lee Johnson, because he's going by Vanilla Baby. And obviously one of them is white and one of them is black. And they have decided this is not a Tony thing. This is
That's
Blake
pretty
and
funny.
Apparently Blake and Lee, if I'm not mistaken. That they're the ones calling themselves the Swirl. Collins said, okay, but that girl in the crowd screaming for Matt Taven was wild. Yes, she was.
That's a weird.
She loves her some Matt Taven. Maybe it was Mrs. Matt Taven. But...
Hey, I mean, you never know.
And also, shout out to Matt Taven. He posted, because I follow him on Instagram, but like I never see his stuff. But he posted like a couple of weeks ago. He was filming a Lifetime movie and he was playing a cop. So good for you, Matt Taven, getting your Lifetime. I believe that will be his debut whenever that happens. So good for him.
Good on him. Why not?
I like the Kingdom. I'm glad they're back. The tag team division needs them. Because if we are struggling, if you thought the AEW tag team was struggling, the division was struggling. Tell you the ROH one has been struggling for a while too. So yes, Bandito did take a lot of heat for tearing at the mask, which was funny because and I think they were talking. I think this might have been. I think Collins and Kyle might have been the one that were talking about this. That Hechicero, of course, was getting booed for ripping at Bandito's mask. But even though he did it first, Bandito did it back, and the fans were like, "No, we understand that ripping at a lucha mask is
not okay.
That is like sacrilege. We don't do that here. So you cannot." Just because he did it to you does not mean you get to do it back. He still one does not cancel out the other. Bandito, please don't.
You don't get to be equally as disrespectful, jerk.
Right. Yeah, Nikki. Oh, that's right. It is Blake that's calling him the Swirl. Lee did not want to go back by that. That is right. Lee was like, but apparently, but they keep calling them the Swirl, or they are, or I think they were they were saying the Swirl Blake Christian, like they weren't separating the two. But yeah, that is right. That Blake was wanting it to be that, and yes, Nikki said. She said, I mean, I like Matt Taven. I know a lot of people don't, but that screaming was something else.
She really liked Matt Taven.
Maybe she had a little bit to drink and was even more excited.
There you go.
She really enjoyed him. I mean, good for her. I'm sorry that he lost you, but
right. But he was there. You got to see him. Got to scream for him.
It sounds like he and Mike Bennett will be wrestling more often. Not just because they were in Philly, because they're from Boston, but still close enough in that area. Hopefully it sounds like maybe they'll be using them more often. But yeah, so I'm sure I will have more What Are We Doing about ROH, but that is the Death Before Dishonor edition of that. And then I thought we were going to have, but when I added this to our notes about AEW pay-per-views coming to HBO Max, I was hoping by the time the show came, we'd have more details, but we don't. I believe that Andrew Zarian was the first to be on it, or to be on this information, and then it got picked up. And I think I feel like somebody else may have had some info on it too. But apparently, AEW pay-per-views are finally coming to Max. They had to, as Tony has said 9 million times, they had to build the back end
infrastructure.
HBO was not set up for
massive amounts of streaming on the globe.
Yeah, whether it's for anything, they had none of that structure existed, and so they've been working on it. That clearly takes some time. If this report is correct, it sounds like it's ready to go and could be ready as early as WrestlePalooza, or not WrestlePalooza, against WrestlePalooza is what I was going to say, at All Out, which would be going up against WrestlePalooza, which would be really nice if
that would be really cool. I hope that Max subscribers get a little bit of a
yes. That has been the big thing, that they should get this at a discount.
I really feel like we pay for a subscription. The ROH gives you a
free pay-per-view.
But yeah,
well, not free, but it's included.
It's part of your package, though.
Right.
I feel like if I'm a Max subscriber and I'm watching it actively, at minimum, I should get at least a discount on the damn thing, like Triller does with the Euro, or it's half off with your subscription or whatever.
Yeah, Triller does that a lot, where some of their stuff is free, or you pay at a discounted rate. Because I mean, if not, then there is the VPN option where you can get the Triller in another country, and
the cheaper, the more affordable pay-per-view price.
Right. So yeah, like I said, I was hoping we would have. That's why I put it on here. I was like,
I get it.
Some details, and then no, we don't have those details. But I think first of all, having it in general would be great, but to have it at All Out going up against WrestlePalooza,
that'd be pretty nice.
Pretty nice, considering that pay-per-view was booked specifically to go head-to-head.
If they could pull it out, that'd be freaking awesome. They would just be dunking on WWE.
But hopefully, fingers crossed, if they do roll it out, it
doesn't crash
as possible, because I know rolling out new product, regardless, can be difficult.
Beta sucks.
It would not, to go against that pay-per-view and to have glitches would not be great.
No.
It would, but of course I expect there to be some glitches for some people. I mean, because that's to be expected, especially because they've never done it before. And then you have to figure out how many people are going to buy it through Max versus, Prime or Triller or payperview.com or the many other places you can see this pay-per-view. So it's to be, unfortunately, it's to be expected. It's not ideal. Of course,
they kind of need to anyway, not just for AEW. AEW, in a way, they're better off testing it on something like AEW than if they have like NFL or MLB, or because you definitely don't want to crash and burn on.
Well, Netflix made a deal that this would also be a good thing, because Netflix has a deal with MLB for the next 3 years that they're showing the Home Run Derby.
Right, which you could actually cross over to Max.
Millions of people. I don't know if that means it's not going to be on Fox at all, or if it's going to be exclusive to. I don't remember what the details were, so I don't know if it's exclusive to Netflix. But that's Netflix, not HBO Max. So then that kind of, never mind. There goes that argument. I was thinking they can test it out, but it's Netflix, not Max. So never mind. There goes that argument. But if they want
Warner Brothers,
you're right.
Working on things too. Right now sports is where it's at, and they are going exclusive with a lot of stuff. So because all these companies are trying to make deals, especially with the NFL, but with all of the major sporting. Even women's sports is really hot right now, and they're picking those games up and those events. So
and then yes, Brad, I saw that today too, because Matthew, who I was talking about earlier in the show, sent us that. So they're doing. So actually,
Yeah.
before we get to the pre-show, so the Wednesday before All Out, which is September the 17th, they're doing a 3.5-hour block where Dynamite is 2 hours, Collision's only an hour, and then they're doing their countdown special. But then on Saturday, the second half of Collision will be live, and it is called the Tailgate Bowl. And that hour will be live at 7 p.m. prior going in. So that will feed that's how they are also
feeding people to the pay-per-view.
They are countering WrestlePalooza because WrestlePalooza is scheduled. I believe because they're obviously this is the first time they're going head to head on pay-per-view. And so this is how they are getting back at they're adding that extra
old
hour.
school. Remember when you could watch the pre-show on WWE, like you could watch WWE's pre-shows before the pay-per-views, and then of course you couldn't afford the pay-per-view.
Right, and especially because pre-shows actually used to have matches on them.
Right, exactly. You'd watch that and get hyped for a pay-per-view you knew you were never going to afford.
Right, exactly. And then you would just have to wait and hear about it. Or if you were like us and you had Channel 99 and you could hear it, and occasionally it would clear up and you'd see like somebody's hand
Flashes.
You'd see that. Yes, and they are, the Wednesday block is being called September to Remember since it's still at 2300 Arena. And a play on the WCW pay-per-view name. And last year they did September to Remember, or I think that was supposed to be ECW, because September to Remember was the ECW thing. Because they did it last year. They did a whole package about it. So yeah, we've got that booking coming up. So yeah, because at first I was like, oh wow, I only have to cover 1 hour of Collision, and I was like, there's my second hour. I guess I'll be covering that. And then I'll be helping out with, because it's the Saturday pay-per-view, so I'll be helping out with coverage. And the reason, Venkin, that you feel like we're going towards a blood and guts, because we are.
I hope so.
They haven't announced it, but that's clearly this is where they're going. They've been building it, figuring out like what teams work together. As we said earlier in the show, Jamie Hayter being back, she's clearly our fifth baby face for that team. I assume Penelope will probably be the number 5 for the heel side of things, because she and Megan Bain. I mean, I guess it's possible that they put it in somebody else and then Penelope's just out there with Megan, but I think Penelope could be your 5. So it's the Triangle of Madness. My guess, he said, so who are the teams? It's my guess is Triangle of Madness, Megan Bain, and Penelope Ford are your 5 for the heel side. Babyface side is Willow, Stat, Jamie Hayter, Queen Aminata. And then who did I have? I had somebody else for the Harley Cameron.
Harley
is your other. That's my guess. That's who I think, because those are the ones who've been interacting the most with each other in the story they've been telling. I mean, that does leave Ty J out of it, but that doesn't mean that they can't come down there. But they haven't been using Ty J as much, and I think these are especially because last night you had Triangle of Madness take out everybody.
Yeah, right.
And Tekla and Jamie had been battling before, they were still battling backstage. Yep. But Jamie did not come out with last night to help, which makes me think I'm sure we're going to get some backstage footage that airs on Wednesday, and it's going to be because Tekla took Jamie out, so that she could not, or she locked her in a room within, like, stuck a trash can in front of it or something, so she couldn't get out to help them out, and then that's going to make Jamie be the 5th person. So I think no, it's not going to be Toni Storm. She's not going to be involved, which is good. We need to focus on. We need to focus on not champions.
Yeah,
we need to focus on, especially because these 10, two of these 10 women could potentially be tag team champions whenever we get those titles, because you've got Megan and Penelope. You could do Sky and Julia could be that, and then maybe Tekla gets another title, or Tekla maybe. I mean, so you could do that. You've got Willow and Chris if they can get their shit together, but then you also have Chris and Harley that could be tag team champions. So I think that's also kind of playing with those dynamics that eventually the 10 of these women could be potentially either in the tournament, could be potential champions. But if you're going to build this division, like, you can't just have winners and that's it. Like, you have to build up competition for them to challenge for these titles. And so I think that's kind of what they're doing right now, is kind of moving around. Then there's always the possibility that depending on what's happening with Deanna, maybe they put Deanna and Taya back together and put the Vendetta back together and have them as a tag team on the ROH side of things, and have, because those titles, I assume, will travel back and forth between ROH and AEW, kind of like the tag team titles of WWE do. The women's titles travel between shows. There's so much crossover between AEW and ROH as it is. It makes sense that they would have women kind of on both sides doing that. Brad says they also need a venue for Blood and Guts since they have 2 rings and they're working in smaller venues right now. Yeah, that'll be really interesting to see where this happens, because I assume this will be a special show, not a pay-per-view match. Like, I think this will be like a Blood and Guts show, like they've been doing.
I would think so.
Yes, and so it'll be interesting. I mean, do they do it at Daly's Place? But I don't know that there's room for 2 rings at Daly's Place.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what size
you've got the stage that comes out, so no, maybe not. Maybe not the homecoming show. Because like the homecoming show itself would be a cool place to do it, but the venue, yeah, I guess Daly's Place would be too small because the stage comes out. And if you have 2 rings, yeah, that's probably not going to work. That is probably too small. Maybe, well, I don't know. They'd have to wait till next year. I was like, maybe we can get it at the Bojangles Arena at the Coliseum when Collision comes in January. That's a pretty decent sized arena that might be able to fit into 2 rings, but then you'd have to wait till January for that to happen. And so I don't think they're doing that. They seem to be building it up like it's happening very soon, like within the next, month or 2. I see that happening. Yes, Brodita was the perfect decision. I was super shocked. I did not think we were getting it. I thought it was going to be FTR and they were going to drop the.
Yeah, I was so hype about that.
I was so hype, very excited for them. Still annoyed about the tag team situation. However, they seem to be a legitimate tag team regardless. And FTR and Kofi and Christian don't need the tag titles for that match to happen. So that I'm fine with that. And it's interesting that the way it happened was Ricochet is holding a grudge from 8 months ago.
Yeah, right.
He tried to join the Hurt Syndicate, and they were like,
no.
And they were like, we don't need you. And so Ricochet cost them the titles because he's been that petty, which I was like, you know what? It works.
Hey, man. He seems like he would. That's his character.
Is it definitely happening? Again, they have strongly hinted at it for weeks. It seems like there's no, they're not just having these women repeatedly wrestling each other over and over without having a payoff. It feels like we're finally getting it. We have all these women who are healthy. We can finally get to this. And if this does not end in the Blood and Guts, I'm gonna be real mad.
Yeah.
But it seems to be, maybe the fans are just hyping it up, but we're not the only ones seeing it. There's lots of chatter about it, and it feels like this is where they're going. So I'm thinking it's coming, especially if you look at what happened last night on Collision. With that, Brad asks, oh, that's a good question. Who's the face in the feud with the Hurt Syndicate or Ricochet and GOA? He says,
I'm not sure.
Okay. Brad says, we think Ricochet and GOA are the baby faces, but who does AEW think are the faces?
That's a good question.
I mean, the fans love to sing "We Hurt People."
Well, yeah,
they love it so much that I was watching Cedric's story of him wrestling in Arizona last night, and people were chanting "We hurt people" at him as he's waiting for his match to start. He posted multiple videos of people chanting "We hurt people."
Yeah, I mean,
so
the Hurt Syndicate's probably more over it than then they would probably be the faces in this case because of the way they I know it's title. Silly stuff, but that stuff works in wrestling.
Right. And Ricochet is the one who cost them the titles.
Right. And he's douchey. So that's like his character's supposed to be douchey.
Right.
So.
That's the heel thing to do here. So I feel like maybe it is the Hurt Syndicate that are the baby faces because of the way the titles were lost, the way Ricochet has been acting. He acts like a heel. GOA, Gates of Agony are heels as well. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, I know the Hurt Syndicate are technically heels too,
Yeah.
but
in this case, I think that
is
gotta go with
how
what the crowd
I
favors.
think the baby faces here are the Hurt business. Fernando says he thinks MJF paid them off to cost the Hurt Syndicate the tag team championships over ROH, which is certainly possible because MJF likes to do these things. He has money. Speaking of MJF, and we did not talk about this, Wardlow's back.
Yeah, right.
He did not murder MJF yet.
Not yet.
He is, because we need, this is, somebody said that Don, at the end of the day, Don Callis family is going to be like NWO at the end where they had like 30 members. Because Wardlow is in the Don Callis family. I guess he needed a big dude because Brian Cage is out recovering from surgery. Mark Davis is doing whatever. He is in Australia, according to his Insta stories. I don't know if he's just there visiting family or if they're going to use him to promote Grand Slam coming back. I don't know. There's been no update on how his foot is progressing, so I don't know if he's technically still injured, but Wardlow is here now. And Wardlow and Takeshita had an interesting little interaction where they were kind of staring each other down. People are wondering if this is planting seeds for when Takeshita eventually leaves the Don Callis family. Will it be because of Wardlow or in relation to Wardlow? So it seems like Wardlow's got they're at least doing some stuff there with Wardlow. So thank goodness they have something for him.
Wardlow MJF murder watch.
Yeah, right.
Whatever.
Yeah, right.
Day 4.
Fernando asks, who should Tony elevate in the absence of Will Ospreay and Swerve? Wardlow is certainly a possibility.
Kyle Fletcher's on his way, so
Fletcher, yeah, he's huge. You've got Orange Cassidy on the way back. You've got Eddie Kingston hopefully on his way back.
I mean, if Danny Garcia is going to be somebody that they're really going to push, if John Moxley is into Daniel Garcia and he really wants to put him over, then that might be someone that they start to build into that. I mean, he's like always been between like, am I a wrestler or am I like a sports entertainer?
Right.
Maybe now is the time where we figure out he's an actual wrestler and he levels up. I mean, that would be a great story.
They've got to do something with him. Like, clearly the talent is there, but the booking has not always been the strongest with him for whatever reason. So now is the time to finally, especially because you got to kind of get him out of that shadow.
I mean, Darby's an obvious one because Darby's just popular with everybody. So he's obviously going to get the pushes.
Well, and you technically so you have this, MJF's pillars, but you also are getting to the point where you have to they are going to be next up, and they have been. MJF and Darby have been. Sammy not so much, and Jack Perry is apparently, like we talked about early in the show, he apparently is on his way back as well. They have hinted at him twice with the Luchasaurus vignette, and then on the BTE episode that aired on Monday, Jack Perry is clearly on his way back at some point. So you also you technically have all 4, and then if Sammy is defending his ROH title on AEW television, you technically have all 4 of your pillars. So who is next up? Clearly Kyle Fletcher, probably Danny Garcia, maybe Hook is another young gun that they could, be presenting. Then you've got Speedball. I mean, granted they're a tag team, but you've got Speedball, you've got Kevin Knight, you've got, fortunately, we don't have a time frame on Jay White. Sounds like he's going to be out through the end of the year. Not that but if he were healthy, Jay White, this would be the time. I mean, they already sound like they had really big plans for Jay, but this would be a great time. This would be a good time to push Juice.
Yeah, Juice.
Juice is, Mel and I have talked about this many times. Juice is very good. He can go. Yes, he's funny. He's great at the comedic stuff, but he kind of was doing away with that when he's come back. He wants to be seen as more seriously. Now that they've done the match with Big Bill, he's wrestled. He beat Brian Keith. Big Bill beat him last night, so maybe we're done with that for now, and we can do something with Juice. Obviously, they were going to do stuff with the Guns, but then Colton got hurt, and I didn't hear a time frame on Colton. So maybe they just keep Juice and Austin together, tagging or something for now, but this would be a great time to push Juice Robinson.
Yeah, I agree.
is because he's incredible. This man is a former champion.
He's awesome.
and
yeah, that's right. He was the junior heavyweight champion.
Yeah,
so.
and he was the first. He was the IWGP US champion.
That's right.
Did he beat Kenny for that title?
I can't remember.
Did
he?
That he bought or right after that? Yeah. So hopefully, I mean, they've got the talent. Like Brad says, AEW has an embarrassment of riches, both men and women. And unfortunately, not everyone can be pushed at the same time. And that part sucks, which is true. But yes, like I said earlier in the show, like it sucks missing Swerve and Ospreay, but I'm not worried about it.
It's an opportunity.
They have the talent to plug in.
Tony is stacked right now. Tony has Brad is right. He's an embarrassment. He's so lucky. He has such a deep roster right now. Like NFL coaches wish they had this deep of a roster going into this season.
Exactly. And they've got and it sounds like, I mean, yes, the Ospreay stuff was kind of a surprise. So I don't know how much that affects like what they were planning for the rest of the year, but it sounds like maybe Swerve was a little bit more known that he was going to need surgery. So I think they've been able to plan around that and can plug people in. And then you've got, I mean, as Fernando mentions, you've got Takeshita and you've got Okada here as well. Like Okada,
and Hangman really can make a run as champion and have a great, like this is the time for him to have the run that he should have had the first time around.
Agreed. And then you've got MJF, who is waiting in the wings with his contract.
He's just going to be haunting him.
Which he probably will win back because that was the whole reason he joined.
I know he'll win it back. I just hope it's not too soon.
Yeah. No, I agree. But the whole point of joining the Hurt Syndicate was for them to help him get his Triple B back. And then they didn't really care about what he was doing. And so they kicked him out. And yes, did he pay Ricochet and GOA to cost them the titles? It's certainly possible, but then also you have Ricochet also has, maybe besides the money he has where he got mad 8 months ago that they spurned him, so you have that too. So I think they're going to be fine. They'll elevate. I really do hope these wrestlers, some of these guys do step up.
Now's your time.
Now say, like, perfect example is Kevin Knight stepping up against Jay White. He got that incredible match. They signed him. Turns out Jay got injured. And so they started plugging in Kevin Knight in certain spots. And every time he did in the singles, I mean, clearly in the tag, but when they were putting him in singles matches, he was stepping up and he was delivering. So he made the best of his opportunity. And it ended up with him. Then it turns out that he and Mike Bailey were the tag team that we didn't know we needed. So you have Jet Speed, and like Speedball was just wrestling down in Mexico. There was a tournament and he got to the finals against Mystico.
Nice.
And so like he's killing it. So you've got plenty of talent. It's just figuring out. And like Brad says, you can't push them all at the same time, but you do when you have these two giant openings for Ospreay and Swerve. You do have to. People are going to have to step up, and they're going to have to, and then the people who are behind them are going to have to step up and take, because where I was originally going with that 4 pillars comment is like, you have these guys that's them now. So then you need the guys behind them to start stepping up, which is your Kyle Fletchers, your Danny Garcias and stuff like that. You need them to start stepping up and helping out with that. And so, and Fernando asks if Takeshita should be the one to take the unified title from Okada. I think it depends on what New Japan has planned for him. Because Takeshita has made it clear that he wants that IWGP championship, which says to me they're going to use him more often. Whether or not he wins the title, I feel like he's going to be prominent.
Did win the G1. I mean, that's a big deal no matter what. That's a huge deal. Mm-hmm. That's a giant vote of like, we're interested in doing something with you with New Japan. They don't just let anybody win the G1.
No. And even if he loses the title shot to, like, even if he doesn't beat Zach at King of Pro Wrestling,
huge match.
He's going to be at Wrestle Kingdom. He will be on that card because he won the G1, no matter what it is doing, whether that's defending the IWGP championship or doing something else. He won the G1. They're going to use him again. And so what are their plans for that? Like, and how much more is he going to be in that? So that, I think,
I'm not sure it's not clear to me who Okada's successor is just this minute.
me either. I think it's going to take a little bit more time to
I
develop.
think as some of these new guys have to get filtered into these empty spots, I will start to get a picture of who should be the next Okada. And that's an okay place to be. I mean,
to be able to beat Okada is going to be huge. But also, this is a new title, technically, because it's unified. Yeah. So this is new, and he's defended it one time, and that was against Swerve. So whoever defeats Okada for that, especially if they haven't really done it yet, but this title is supposed to be on the same level.
Yeah, they're trying to make it mean something.
So I feel like Okada is going to hold this title for a bit longer.
Yeah.
Could he lose it by the end of the year? Sure. Maybe he loses it to whoever wins the C2, but the C2 doesn't end until January. So he could potentially hold it through this. So maybe he loses it to whoever wins the C2. So
yeah. Or maybe they just give it to Ishii in a little while and
listen, I would not be mad at Ishii winning that title, especially from Okada, because they have history.
Well, they have history. He could do it. He's the guy that carried around. I mean, you used to call the never open title Ishii's title. It's just his title.
And he's the strong champion currently.
I mean, he's the kind of person that's really solid for something like that. That would be an easy build. People in America and Japan love him. I mean, maybe down the road a little. They have been having him on the shows more often. So
he wrestled on a Ring of Honor. He wrestled on Death Before Dishonor. He was in the opening match. He wrestled with Hologram, who I keep forgetting. Hologram is also in the conglomeration, but they wrestled the very first match. Then turn around and wrestled last night. And speaking of Hologram, we apparently have evil Hologram.
Apparently, Hologram's being taken over by an AI or something.
El Clon, who Brad said they can have El Clon beat Okada. So El Clon, which means the clone, apparently is evil Hologram.
Somebody hacked Holograms.
Somebody said what if it's Chris Jericho?
Oh
God,
obviously
to save us Y2J.
No.
Hey, it could be.
Okay, that's funny. That's a little funny. Okay.
It could be Mustafa, because Mustafa was in Retribution and they were hacking things. So it could be Mustafa. But yeah, somebody said last night in the Wrestling Inc. Slack, they were like, because Hologram is 31-0 in collision matches. He's never lost. Even in his, I don't even know that, I can't remember if he's even lost in tag matches, but I know in singles matches he's undefeated. And he was like, it's going to be so funny when Hologram's streak ends when he loses to El Clon.
I lost to myself.
Somebody said that too, that El Clon is going to be Arez, who worked for GCW. Yes, he is incredible. I've seen him. Somebody posted a picture last night and was like, I hope it's him. And it was a picture of Arez, which I can certainly see them being him. Because that was kind of, when I saw that picture, I was like, yep, I could see that being the one. Yeah. Right. So it looks like Roddy is turning on Alex.
Yeah, probably.
You mean Roddy's turning on? Wait, Alex who?
No, wait.
Do you mean Kyle O'Reilly?
Probably.
Is that what you mean? Because Kyle, Roddy hates the conglomeration. He hates Kyle having friends that aren't him.
Yeah.
Which kind of like that kind of goes back, if you go back to the Devil storyline, they didn't like Adam Cole because I told you Adam Cole had a lot of boyfriends, and we could have had an Adam Cole in a pole match because he had so many different boyfriends.
It's true. Settled it once and for all. Make them fight.
Roddy does. They do kind of seem to be planting seeds of Roddy and Kyle, but on the other hand, you need the Paragon because you need to have more tag teams.
Yeah.
In your division, like GYV.
Wow.
Usually, yeah. He said he's sorry he meant that's who I thought you meant. I was like, but yes, look, Kyle versus Roddy would be a great feud.
Heck yeah!
I'm pretty sure they've done it before in another company. Was that WWE or ROH? Yeah, it was NXT, right? Yeah,
it is NXT,
right? So
they've wrestled either together or against each other indefinitely in NXT and maybe in Strong.
Right. So, yes. Oh, I love Goofy Kyle. I love all versions of Kyle O'Reilly. Like Serious Kyle, love him. Goofy Kyle, huge fan of. Love Goofy Kyle.
Can go either way, really.
Kyle. Because once he gets into the ring, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Once he's in the ring, he will beat your ass.
Yeah.
He will kick the shit out of you.
It's all about the boobs.
Yes. Yes. Something made me think. I thought about Budge. Yes, I thought about Budge last night when I was watching the Dark Order match, and they were showing Johnny Hungy, and I was like, "Oh wow!" I was like, "I haven't thought about Budge in a while."
Budge. It's amazing. It's amazing what the mind does.
Oh gosh, I miss BTE.
Oh, BTE.
So much.
Thank you for the memories. Thank you for the wonderful, wonderful memories.
I really hope. I mean, I would like longer episodes, but if all I can get right now are 45,
shorts is better than 0.
Yeah, I'll take it. And even if it's just the Young Bucks for right now, I'll take it too, because that's been fun. So I'm hoping tomorrow's a holiday, but maybe we'll get at noon. Check your YouTube. Maybe we'll have a new BTE episode tomorrow.
Nice. I need to turn my notifications back on there and watch those.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw it because of Twitter is how I saw it.
Oh, okay. I wasn't camping Twitter enough.
So what annoyed me, so I told Nikki, I was like, hey, new BTE. I just saw the Young Bucks tweet. New BTE episode. Didn't click to see how long it was or anything. Oh, no, I think I told her it was only 48 seconds. And it's called I think it was called like Who's Calling Me or something like that. And so I was like, we should watch it soon. So we were getting ready to watch it. Not even 2 minutes later, Fightful spoiled it.
Oh,
they told me who called. And I was like,
Sean.
Fightful. I was like, those videos. And I was like, they only did this video like 15 minutes ago and you've already spoiled it for me, damn it.
They're that good.
I know. I was like, somebody has their notifications turned on. I was like, damn it. So I told the group chat, I was like, hey, go try to watch this when you can, because you might accidentally see it if you get on Twitter, because Fightful just spoiled it for me.
Nice.
God. Somebody, Brad, because he said they should redo the BTE where they became a boy band, this time replacing Marty with anyone. Somebody posted a picture of their shirt on Twitter, and they posted like a clip or like a picture from where they did the boy band, and somebody posted the shirt, because Nikki and I have that shirt and we have not worn it in forever because Marty Skrull's face is on it, and so we talked about how do we cover it, like if we wear this, how would we cover it up, like would we like need to patch somebody's face, we need a patch of somebody's face. So it's in my because I have a bag for like winter clothes and we swap it out, and it's currently in the bottom of that bag because I don't know what to do with it. Because I was like, I can't. I mean, I guess I could technically sell it. I'm sure some Marty Skrull fan would buy it.
Yeah, you could make a buck off it at least.
Yeah. I still have a Joey Ryan shirt that's at the bottom of the bag because I don't know what to do with it, because I don't want to throw it away because I don't want to contribute to pollution.
Right. Yeah, I hear
you. Somebody said, like, they're like, you could just like rip it up and use it as a rag, which I guess I could do that, but it's still, and I've considered selling it because I was like, I'm sure there's some Joey Ryan fan out there or Joey Ryan himself who comments on his own videos. That'd be
hilarious.
I mean, he might buy it. Because I was like, well, if I sell it, it probably wouldn't get much for it. Then I could maybe donate the money to like a charity. But then again, I was like, it might only sell for like $3. So I've thought about selling it, because right now it's just at the bottom of the bag and I don't know what to do with it. I'm like, I don't want to throw it away. I don't want to contribute to all the pollution out there, but I suppose I could
just donate it to.
Yeah, I thought about donating it, but then I was like, I don't want some random person who doesn't know who Joey Ryan is to be walking around with his shirt on. To just be like, oh, this shirt looks cool, I'll buy it. And then turns out that's probably not somebody you should be wearing around town. So maybe I will, if I don't sell it. Because actually I have, from when I was a Marty Skrull fan, I have a shirt of his, and I had bought a calendar of his that's autographed, and I still have it. It's from like 2012. I thought about just selling it as a lot, because I'm sure I know there's some Marty fans out there.
Oh, there's gonna.
I know you're out there.
The internet never ceases to amaze.
Right, exactly.
There is no depth to what people will purchase on eBay.
So I was talking about it again with Nikki the other day, because I think I've got it somewhere, and I was like, I guess I could put the Marty shirt and the Marty calendar, and I think I have an autographed
the
Marty
sex offender bundle.
Right. And then I was like, I could just throw in a Joey Ryan shirt for free. What if that's where they draw the line? I'll take the Marty shirt, but not Joey.
I don't know. I'm just not sure.
Draw a line at Joey Ryan. Marty's fine.
Ugh. I don't
Or
even want
vice
to parse
versa.
those. Yeah,
I'll
just take it. Just take it all.
Here,
I
take
don't
it all.
even want to
You
know
can
your.
have it.
I'm gonna
put it up.
forget your
Maybe I should
address
put it-
exists. I'm gonna forget your state exists.
Maybe I should put it up for free on Facebook Marketplace. Leave it at the curb. Just
that
come get
usually
it.
works
I
around here.
don't want to know you if you want their
If
stuff.
this is what you want, then this is you do you.
Yeah, Nikki said she might have to take it to the. Yes, Nikki also has a Joey Ryan shirt. It's a really pretty blue color, and she said she might have to take it to the recycling center, which is
Yeah. I mean, if there actually is a place that textile recycles, which is going to have to become a thing probably, then that would be totally you can reuse it that way.
Yeah, and Brad says his Daryl that he has is signed by Kenny the Bucks, and Cody has Marty on it. I got it and decided before everything. I hate that he's on there. Oh, it makes it even worse.
But you guys didn't know what you didn't know. And
no,
that's
we
not
didn't
cool.
know. But and it's because the unfortunate.
It does kind of dull it. It makes it suck. But it makes it suck in a lot of ways. But that guy was a piece of shit, and he made a choice. And that doesn't mean that our enjoyment is lessened by it. It just means that we acknowledge that guy is trash, and that we don't want to support anything that relates to him. And it sucks.
It does suck. It's like
that's a bummer.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna be able to scratch his name off of there.
Right. I would like to.
Acetone.
Yeah, because I love that too. It was because they were too sweet, and it was like the number 2 sweet, and they're all in white, like the Backstreet Boys when they all were white for one of their things, which also has. You should, if you don't know about Nick Carter, might want to look that up. Talk about ruining your teenage fandom. And making it where you can't listen to them anymore, or you can't listen to them in the same way because of all of the things that you found out. Then you should also, if you have access to it, I believe it's on Netflix, and it's also on maybe Discovery ID. There is a thing about the Carters, which is about Nick and Aaron Carter. It's very. I was so angry watching that show, and I was like, of course, like we said, you don't know what you don't know what you don't know. But now that I do know, it makes it very hard too. Because I saw them before they got famous. I saw them. They had toured in Europe and Japan and gotten big over there. They weren't big here yet. I was 14 when I went to see them, and had been a fan for a very long time. And
hey, I saw Kevin Spacey on Broadway. We got to meet him by the stage door. Back then, we were huge fans. It makes a real. It sucks. It's a real. I mean, fortunately, there were other actors that were in there that we can also remember, but that is a real pisser. Like we got my mom's friend who had an Amex, because you could get pre-buy on if you had an Amex card. Like we gave her the money to get the tickets for this play because we saw the Iceman Cometh in New York on Broadway. It was an excellent show, but it was like, now what I do with that, it sucks because we even had an interaction with him, and it's like, oh no.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Like we had multiple interactions with Joey Ryan, with Marty Skrull, with David Starr. Because they wrestled here locally. We saw Marty several times.
We had a few of them.
And we had interactions with
some of the people that, unfortunately. I mean, we even ran across Trent Seven at Forbidden Door, and it was like, why does this have to be like this? I can't.
Yeah, and it was a play on the Millennium cover, which because Kenny and the Bucks are Backstreet Boys fans, they went to see.
Yeah, I remember that concert.
They had a BT episode.
It's one of my favorite episodes of all time. Them doing all the dances, move for move, singing every single word to every single song.
Yep.
I literally am like, when a Backstreet Boys song comes on and I'm like singing along, I'm like, if it's good enough for Kenny Omega, it's good enough for me.
Yes, exactly.
Kenny Omega is a Backstreet Boys fan.
Yes.
What?
Right.
Fight him.
Exactly. Fight him. Right. And so, right.
And your name's not Okada, so.
Right. Thank you for joining us, Maria. It's okay that you were late.
We are happy you came
by. Maria said, apologies if you've covered this already. What are your thoughts on the Raja Jackson incident? It shouldn't have happened. It should not have happened.
As somebody actually, I had a local, just to be frank, Spider personally weighed in on this and said that if that sort of thing were ever to, because a lot of the talent that I know from around here were like, where were the boys in this situation even?
Which has been
he actually made, I mean, I don't want to like out a guy, but basically the idea was, and this is sort of how I felt, was that if that happened around here at an event, that guy would have had a serious problem with like the whole locker room.
Right. That's the thing is, where was the locker room? Why did they, and I think we talked about it a little bit last week, but they were like, why did the referee still
he was just standing there like an
idiot. Why was he still standing there? Why did somebody pin him?
And his excuse was, well, he's like a fighter. And I'm like, then you shouldn't be a referee for a combat sport.
Everything was a mess. Then it came out, there was one wrestler who apparently, I have not watched the interview, but he did do an interview with somebody. It was like, there was one wrestler who like had a problem with it and was like, tried to do something about it. And he leaked screenshots of a group chat where the owner, by the way, Rikishi is co-owner of this wrestling school. They are WWE.
Well, and Rampage is out there just defending it like a dickhead. And
Rampage actually, no, he keeps saying he's really sorry about it, and that
he's also saying like, understand my son's point of view. What, he almost like he beat a guy?
I thought the thing that I saw was, maybe there was something else that I missed, but he said that his son, and which is obviously, I mean, it could be an excuse, but he said that his son had been injured a few days prior, and he thought maybe his son had a concussion, was acting out of character, which that of course is a shitty defense. But from most of the things I've seen, he has been very apologetic on behalf of his son. His son clearly does not care, but regardless, so this is Rikishi's school. He has he is co-owner of the school. That's how they have a WWE ID.
Not okay.
It's because of Rikishi. And then apparently they've been asked to pull the WWE ID logo off of their posters and stuff. Have they technically cut them? I don't know. Or is this just until this dies down, don't put our logo on your shit?
Yeah.
So then there's this group chat leaked, and I saw some of the screenshots because Max Rights for Wrestling Inc. had it, and he had a link to the YouTube thing. But
and I defer to like BJ Bethel and Ruben J. They actually talked about it on their podcast. That was.
Like I said, this guy came forward. They have screenshots, and they have been advised by the owners of that company to not talk to the police about anything that happened.
That's messed up. You know that's withholding evidence.
Yes, they've been told.
And actually, it's actively you're effing with a police investigation that can get charges too.
Somebody named Valerie claims that they have the support of, and she named like half the bloodline, like Jey Uso and Joe, and which obviously would be Roman Reigns, and like a couple other people. And I guess she assumes because they're related to Rikishi that they have their support, but she just was like, we have their support. And I'm like, do you have the support, or are you just assuming that? So there's that. And then Brad says WWE stripped them, which they should. But Ricky, yes, this is a mess. He has
there's no excuse for that happening anywhere.
No, and even if, because people are like, well, he threw the bottle at him, but from Psycho Stu's point of view,
wrestling.
It was he thought it was supposed to go to a storyline. They thought they had cleared it up from Psycho Stu's point of view. And then whatever this Kick platform is, Raja Jackson was on there and said there's video of him saying he is going into the ring and he is going to, basically, this isn't wrestling, I'm going to beat his ass. So there's video of him saying that and then him doing it, which is not a great look for your investigation.
Well, and more than that, it makes wrestling look terrible.
Yes.
So it's a black eye for, like, I mean, I think may have even been Collins said it perfectly, it's just a black eye on our sport where we love, because that's not what we do.
Yeah.
The entire premise, the crux of wrestling is two guys or gals being able to trust one another in the ring.
Exactly.
So what he did is the exact opposite.
That's what they teach you from day one.
Yep.
You have to trust the person you are in the ring with. Fernando says he lost a lot of respect for Mark Henry and RVD defending Raja. I didn't hear. I saw Rob. I saw what RVD said. Then he used it as clickbait, so you'd go watch his podcast the next day.
Of course.
And then he was like, "Well, where did I say I was defending him?" And I was like, "Where you said you had his back." That sounds like a defense to me.
That's pretty much defending him, dude.
Without even listening to your comments, you flat out said, I back Raja. Okay, well, to me,
No
I don't know
offense
what
to
your
RBD
definition
right
of
now,
defending is, but
that's
fine.
not smart to defend, and I wouldn't die on that hill. But I also
No.
wouldn't take RBD's like comments and statements as like.
Well, and Mark Henry should know better too.
Mark Henry has
Mark
lost
Henry.
credibility with me a long time ago, so
Right.
I don't. These are people that they are bad actors who are just going to support other bad actors because they condone the same behavior from themselves.
Right. Brad
Thank
says
goodness.
Psycho Stu is out of the hospital today. Good. I'm so glad to hear that. And he said he's pressing charges.
Well, that's good because that will kick the fact that the police like didn't do an investigation in the first place seems pretty effed up to me.
They did start it. That it happened. They did do one that night. That started because they were responding to an incident or something. So apparently they did start some sort of investigation.
That should push the issue. He's at very minimum needs to be made whole on his medical and whatever long-term damage.
Right.
No, that's not okay. Everything about that's wrong.
No, and then there's some indie, I forget their name, but they are advertising Raja Jackson. Because clearly they're a shindy who wants to make money.
Carney's gonna Carney.
And if you are a wrestler on that card, you better hope that you are protected and that but it doesn't sound like your promoter is going to protect you if they're booking this guy in the first place. They clearly don't care. They're wanting to, like you said, Carnies are going to Carney, but they're not looking out for your best interests. So
no, this is the grossest version.
You should watch yourself. And if this guy does the things that he does in this locker room, should be prepared to do something about it and not just stand there and let it happen. But it also would not surprise me if they're booking this guy that they work in an angle to
absolutely
what happened. I mean, that sounds like what's going to happen is
that's like the most WWE type find. I mean, that they know that sadly the Vince McMahon mindset continues to pervade booking, and so that would be exactly the kind of thing you might expect from someone.
Well,
let's make a disgusting angle out of a really shitty situation, and that nearly cost a man his life.
Okay. Thank you, Brad. So Brad says that was not a real advertisement. It's run by Dirty Ron McDonald, the same guy who spread rumors about GCW years ago, and they gave out fake COVID cards. Even Rob Black from XPW fired him. Okay, I had not heard that was not real. So thank you for clarifying. We don't want to be spreading misinformation. So I appreciate that. Yeah, I remember. I didn't know his name, but I remembered him trying to spread those GCW rumors a few years ago that ended up not being true. Surprising.
This is not okay.
But I think the testament to that is nobody and would be surprised if somebody actually booked him, because
that's the worst part.
That's what Carney like. It's believed. Like I believed it because this seems like a very believable thing for somebody in the wrestling industry to do, because Carnies are going to Carney, and it
wouldn't shock me at all. I'm glad that
it wouldn't shock me if that's fake, and then that there was a real one later would also not shock me.
I know that it may have cost them a lot of money, but I think this whole Cracker Barrel thing was a fucking hoax. I think it was all like, I actually had someone I know tweeted a week when it happened, like the week it happened, they were like, watch, a week from now they're going to do a whole reversal and it's going to be like this whole thing. And because the idea was like, who's talking about Cracker Barrel right now? Well, now everyone is. So I just
maybe.
As a matter of fact, you know what's funny around here? They did away with that barrel and stuff a long time ago on the highway signs around here. Like I just saw one on the highway as we were coming home from my doctor the other week, and I literally was like, "It's just the little." I think people are having like Mandela syndrome with this.
They just have to have things to be. They just have to have things to be outraged about, because people change their logos. People change their logos all the time, and they get feedback. Because I mean, when they stopped calling it Aunt Jemima, people lost their shit.
I actually have things for them to be outraged about. Like
there's plenty, but they don't
care.
Deaths
of small children, but
yeah,
and not a logo. But
no, they don't care. That they want to be mad about everything that's not important.
as
Brad,
long as I've got my head either stuck in the sand or shoved firmly up my ass, I am an okay American.
yeah. Brad said, any opinions on the protest outside the 2300 arena by the head of the union that upset the WWE wasn't running their venue? It's a publicity stunt. Whether it is or not, it stinks of WWE because they did not, this union, when WWE ran NXT there, they did not protest.
Yeah, it's hard to parse this out.
There, they don't protest. I went to their Facebook page where it was linked and was reading back through. There were no posts. There's no posts about WWE running there. There were no posts about any indie show that has run there. And then and people were saying in the comments that AEW does use a union, a traveling union that they use, and they pay them what they're supposed to pay them and have done that for years. And there were people in the replies who asked the same thing. They said, why didn't you protest WWE then when they were here? And then they gave some dumb reason about how they were too busy and didn't know. Which makes
why haven't my question bigger than that is because usually this thing would be why haven't other unions, because this inevitably is happening in other venues, and he's got the same crew that he's got, and like if you're going to New York or California,
2300 Arena is a non-union venue, and I think that's part of what they're mad about because they're not running where I think it's the I forget the name of the center that they normally run, but this time they didn't. They ran, and that's then your problem. Then your issue is with the 2300 Arena for being a non-union venue.
Correct.
Which is shitty that they are.
That has nothing to do with Tony.
But that has nothing to do with AEW, and they're booking that for like if you know anything about AEW, they're booking it because Tony is a huge ECW fan.
He's right. He's an ECW,
and that's what it's for. It
was all about him being a mark, not. For lack of. We're all fans. We're all fans of the stuff. At the end of the day, he's a big giant fan. Yeah. I don't know that. I've never heard of that. That reeked of inside like sabotage.
That's why people, it does feel very WWE. Like
that would be the most obvious place to point a finger because corporate sabotage is real and very, very.
And they've made it very obvious that they fear AEW and they're going to do anything that they can.
The way that the administration,
which is so funny, making them seem that they don't care about unions when we sure as hell know WWE won't allow unions.
Right, that's right.
See Hogan, Hulk about the whole thing with unions and what happened with that. So,
well, and that would be my entire argument right there is that. Why have no other unions across the entire nation of America thought to come out and picket these events? And why was it only this one specific AEW event?
Mm-hmm.
If I see more of this, maybe.
Did they picket yesterday? Did they picket Death Before Dishonor too? Or do they only picket Dynamite and then because even their statement, they were like, well, we're not going to try to interfere with anybody who's working there. We just want to make sure they're paying people. But then
you have paying the people though. That was what I read.
Right. And the people who are, your issue is with 2300 Arena. Is it shitty that 2300 Arena is a non-union venue? Yeah, that's super shitty. But that's who your argument should be with, not with
100%. It's the venues. That's a venue choice.
Didn't have that same energy when NXT just ran there a couple of months ago. Then you didn't do it for the indie shows that run there.
I call that sus. Hella sus.
Yeah, very sus. Brad says the head of the union works for the venue that AEW usually runs in Philly, so he's just upset that they aren't running all these shows there over the next few weeks. And then he says the union headquarters is right across the street from the 2300 Arena, and they've been trying to get to that arena to change the union for years, and they should. I support that. I support them trying to go after 2300 Arena, but AEW has nothing to do with that. They are not, and they're running that venue for historic reasons, which is on brand for everything that Tony does. And if he is paying the crew that he is using, they're a union crew, and he is paying them the wage that they are supposed to be paid.
Their contract.
And what their contract says, then that is the correct thing for him to be doing if he is paying them at wage like he is supposed to. And from what they say, not just AEW, but from what those members or what these people are saying,
like the engineers and the people that
they are being paid. And so you are not helping your cause. You are hurting your cause by attacking AEW when your issue is
unless you're going to do this every time an event plays
right.
2,300.
Yeah, if you're going to do it, and then the next time WWE runs there, you better do it.
How about the next time anybody runs there with
any type of event that is at the 2,300 arena, you better be out there protesting.
You better be out there picketing every single time. We had strikes here for the car companies again, those and the nurses that have gone on strike in a lot of places here. They're out every freaking day for months. And I mean, sometimes during the winter. So, and it's cold AF here in Michigan in the winter, in case you missed it. It gets real cold around these parts. So I've witnessed protests in the flesh. Like, this is not, this pop-up protests don't exist. This has not become I've never heard of, and I mean, that might just be my ignorance. It doesn't mean it's never happened. I'm sure it has. It just seems awful convenient. And they can use the internet to do whatever they want in terms of if you have enough money, you can send a bot army out into the world. You can send, it takes one person, you pay one person to start a thread, and you've got a whole viral fire going on Twitter. It doesn't take that much, and these people know exactly what they're doing. It's very inexpensive. I could go buy somebody to start a viral trend with very little money right now, because it's just that simple, and it's just that pervasive across the whole world wide web, the entirety of the thing, not just a little phone thing that we think that really exists. Most of this stuff that we're seeing is being driven by some sort of corporate force that either wants us to buy something or hate something.
Right. Yeah. So
it's just,
because I mean, maybe I just missed it, but as far as I know, they didn't protest Death Before Dishonor or Collision last night. So is it because you got caught out for what you were doing and decided to go home, or are you going to stick to your guns and protest everything?
Yeah, I want to see them protesting every single event that has doesn't use their union there from now on.
Yeah. Not if you're gonna
otherwise you're bullshit. Otherwise you just painted an avenue and washed over.
And or like Brad said, you just are mad that they're not running the other
sour
place.
Grapes. Yeah, that's sour grapes. That's the cost of doing business. You guys should get a contract with 2,300 or picket them until they contract you.
Yeah,
that's the real way to make change. You really want AEW, Tony Khan can be like, you are unionized in 2,300, even though years of trying has.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think that worked. I don't think it works that way.
I mean, maybe the same people that think Mercedes is booking herself to be an Ultimo Dragon. Okay. Yep, we know.
She's booking herself to do all of these things.
And it's totally not benefiting everyone around her and the company she works for.
No, not at all. She's not bringing other eyes to it, and
to 9 other companies or 8 other companies that aren't AEW.
Right.
What a jerk.
And they are not benefiting from her being at shows.
Oh yeah, they must hate this. They totally gave their belts to her because they're just that weak. Because that's how wrestling bookers and promoters come off.
Yeah, I thought her celebration. I loved her celebration too. I thought somebody was going to come out and challenge her. I was a little surprised that we had a title celebration that didn't end with somebody getting cake in their face.
She called her such. She wants to beat Ultimo, so that means 11. Right. So
that's right. So I mean, which
it would be kind of cool
if she does do it, and technically there are 2 more titles in AEW. She can get the World Championship and the ROH title. That's your 11 technically. I mean, granted, I won't be surprised if there's other promotions. I know that's not what you want. It's just, there could also be other promotions that be like, we've seen what you're doing for other promotions and how you're selling tickets and how that's super helpful. Here's a title we will.
Yeah,
agree. Nyla was joking about because she won that Pro Wrestling Eve title, and she was pretending like she was going to block Mercedes and was like, "Don't tell her." Don't tell her I have this title. And then she's already talked to Viva Van because Viva Van has 6 titles.
Nice.
Now Millie McKenzie has multiple titles as well. So there's that would
be kind of cool. I just think that's a fun, cool.
Want her to get
and I think it'd be fun for people to look up.
I want her to get to 11. I would let her have 25. Do I want the AEW World and ROH titles in that? I don't know. like part of me, yes, because like I want her to be super dominant, but she can if that happens, she can't hold either title for very long because then that defeats the purpose.
It's going to
of
be the
elevating
unwinding
everything.
that's really the payoff here.
Yeah, oh, for sure. For sure. So even if she gets these titles elsewhere, yep, no, they sure didn't, Maria. They did not say anything
That
negative
is
with
so
Kenny Omega.
true. No.
But they did accuse Kenny of dating all the women's champions
course.
until it got to Britt, and they're like, "Oh, well, it can't be Britt because she's in a relationship with Adam Cole, so we can't use that argument anymore." Even though also Nyla was the champion and was not. Nyla also was not dating
people.
Kenny.
It's the amount of energy people expend tying themselves in knots to not face reality is really remarkable these days. I just don't have that energy, man. Reality sucks and it's hard, but
right.
I'm kind of like twisting myself into knots to like die on hills that are not hills I want to die on it's just really not my jam.
No.
I don't care what $1 million company's logo looks like, and I don't think that performative picketing is cool.
No, I don't think that's helping your cause at all.
I don't think it's helping causes of unions in general.
No, not at all. We want people to be pro-union, but this is not the way to go about it.
The big three live in my state, so the unions here are very. You say union around here, it's very important, and they've already been attacked a great deal in my lifetime. So,
Nikki said, "I'm sure some people were having an affair. People are so dang weird talking about the Kenny Omega."
Well, usually I find that stuff, in my experience, tends to be projection.
Oh yeah,
it's either insecurity or projection or some combination of both.
Right.
So either it's you're jealous or you're projecting, usually is what I find.
And then obviously when it comes to the women, it's because they are
we can only accomplish anything by obviously throwing it around.
Right.
Because if we didn't throw it around, we'd never ever get ahead in it.
Right. Which, and then of course that's how Beast Mortos is apparently getting booked. It's because
that's right, that flipped now.
Yes.
Even though he was a huge star beforehand. Shut up. He was a giant star.
He's getting the Mercedes rub because he dates her.
Weird, since he's been booked like regularly on AEW television for years before he was even.
And he was booked regularly in ROH. And this man used to be in TNA. And when he was in, we talked about when he was in TNA as Black Taurus, he won.
I guess we finally got those equal rights
when he was in TNA. So
I guess we finally got those equal rights when it comes to
right, here we go.
We're all sleeping our way to the top
now. Here you go. Beast Mortos is
there you go. Welcome to Be a Woman, Beast
That's equality, man.
Stop sleeping your way to the top, dudes.
I'm sure that's how it got.
Sam, I think you would appreciate this because I do use this occasionally. Is if it's the right guy, I will actually tell them that they would be prettier if they smiled more. And I think maybe we should start telling men to stop sleeping their way to the top too.
Yeah.
We just need. They're always repossessing like real words and stuff. Like they've completely corrupted like what woke even like was supposed to. You know. So I just feel like we need to do that too.
There we go.
So it's like we just. Why are all you men constantly sleeping your way to the top?
What's wrong with you? Have some self-respect.
That explains everything that's wrong with this world.
And on that note,
solved it.
I think that's the end of the show for today.
Yeah, that's. I mean,
I think that we're going to end on that.
All right.
Thank you for being with us, whether it's live or on the replay, or if you were here for a few minutes and that was it. This is a long one.
Yeah. Well, she said it, not me.
I mean, she's not the first person who said that.
He totally did.
Boy.
All right.
Brad said, "Damn, is that how I get to the top? I never got the memo."
I know, right?
If you would check your outbox or see your stuck messages, maybe it's in your spam, Brad.
Yeah, right.
Check your spam.
It went to Brad's spam, is what happened. Yeah.
Are you smiling yet?
All right, you guys.
We're for real going
We're for real going, and we do appreciate you being here in the chat and guessing my hats and giving me something to think about and all of that.
Yes.
And we will
Thank
see
you for your
guys.
questions and your feedback and your opinions and things like that. We always enjoy it, and we will be here next week at our regular time. And who, knock on wood, knows what's going to happen in the world of wrestling in the next week. Thank you, Fernando. the fight game and Power Bombshells number one.
Thank you so much. We all appreciate that.
We get that. We thank you for that. Thank you for everybody. Again, thank you for your support always. If you bought a shirt, thank you. If you have not, that's okay too. We still love you. You don't have to spend money for us to like you.
No, you don't have to. But if you do want your very own, you can jump on over there, and it's right there on the main page too. All right. So everybody have an excellent Sunday. We will see you next time.
Bye.